Today is Wednesday, the 11th of June 2025, and it's my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the start of a brand new day on Joy News. This is the AM show across Ghana's 16 regions on the Joy News channel, around the world on myjoyonline.com, on Facebook, on X Spaces, and on YouTube. You're listening to me, Sweetie Abochi, ushering you to the start of the show. So let me tell you what we have installed for you for this 4-hour packed show this morning. Of course, like we do every day, we start with the AM news. And after that, we'll bring you AM Sports, which comes right after the news on the news belt. And then there's conversations will begin with a news review segment. And Dr. Kwame Asasante is head Center for European Studies and a political scientist. He's joining us. Dr. Jabri Mohammed is senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School. He also joins us, as well as Moses Benisan. He's a financial consultant and a pastor. So all three gentlemen will be joining us this morning to review the newspapers and the stories in there that may be of interest to you and me. And then right after that, we get into our big stories. And today is the International Day of Play. And around the world, governments, educators, and the international community are being urged to invest in play as a key driver of children's learning and well-being. We here will engage some executives on from the right to play on why it is significant to mark this day. Now, that's not all. Today, we'll also look at the justice delivery system and its imperfections and how, as a nation, we can cure these and deliver justice for all. We'll bring you a conversation that you don't want to miss. And of course, we invite you to join us with your comments and your thoughts across all social media platforms. We are Joy News on TV. Hopefully today, at the tail end of the show, we get to open the phone line so you get to have your say. A gentle reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties, providing quality housing at affordable cost with flexible payment options. So, welcome aboard the AM show. Let's get right into the AM news now. Please stay. This is the AM News, the first news bulletin on the Joy News channel. Details now. The minority has clashed with First Deputy Speaker Bernard Ahiafo, accusing him of being partisan. This comes after the Speaker denied ranking member on the Health Committee, Nana Ayew-Afriyie, from making an urgent statement on the ongoing nurses' strike. This is what transpired on the floor. Take a look.
Mr. Speaker, I think that we can take an adjournment to tomorrow, during which those statements that you have admitted can be made. There's no difference between today and tomorrow, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, I rise to second the motion. In doing so, Mr. Speaker, I make this statement.
Honorable Afriyie, if you don't take time, I will send you out of the house.
I'm not worried about that.
Why are you taking liberty for nonsense?
About that. It's an issue of urgent public importance. I can leave.
In doing so, make one statement.
I can leave. I am ready to leave.
What do you mean by in doing so, make one statement?
I am ready to leave. You can take me out. I'm ready to leave. Mr. Speaker, we rise to make this statement on an issue of immediate and far-ranging concerns to our country. The ongoing national strike action declared by the Ghana.
You are hereby directed to walk Afriyie out of the house. The question is, as many as are in favor of adjournment, say aye. Ayes have it. The House is adjourned to tomorrow, Wednesday, 11 June 2025 at 2 p.m.
Well, the ranking member, in an address to the media after that incident, accused the Speaker of Parliament of being biased and partisan in moderating affairs on the floor.
To explain to the public the extreme partisan nature of the First Deputy Speaker of Parliament. He's been extremely partisan this evening, disregarding the provisions of the standing orders of this House. This House has orders, and the order in 93.1 allows for issue of urgent public importance for statements to be admitted. Minority pleaded for him to exercise the highest form of discretion. But the First Deputy Speaker failed. I think the First Deputy Speaker has a lot to learn from the Speaker himself. The Right Honourable Speaker is extremely liberal, encourages the provision and the execution of the standing orders. But the First Deputy Speaker, who is extremely partisan, has denied us the right of the minority to exercise what we have to do as far as this strike is concerned. What did we do this morning? We met you and then made you aware of our position. But it doesn't end there. Our business is in the House. So we made a statement, a joint statement between myself and Jerry Ahmed, basically to get the hands out to capture our position. And that's the way we work. And from this, you can deliberate on it and then put the necessary pressure on government to do what it has to do. But that is official. Regardless of the press conference we had earlier, this is our work. And the only way to have made it formal was to go through an urgent statement. But he has refused that. He has refused that. When the order 93.1 allows him to have admitted it on issue of urgent public importance. In issues like this where people are dying, if this is not important, what's our business in the House now? Threatening that he is going to expel myself and my colleagues out when we're trying to plead on nurses to go back to work and also ask government to be reasonable with their posturing towards nurses. What else do you expect from a minority? A reasonable minority. A reasonable minority who are not playing politics, unlike them. Whenever they had opportunity on health, they always played politics. A very reasonable minority here, we understand that nurses, their rights don't have to be breached. We understand the nurses are so right.
In other news, legal practitioners are advocating for limitations on the president's power of appointment. This call follows the removal of Ghana's Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Torkornoo, which has drawn widespread criticism and renewed calls for constitutional reform. According to Emerita Professor at the University of Ghana, Professor Techiwa Manu Esquire, appointment processes should be based on competence and qualifications. She lauded ongoing calls for constitutional reviews, particularly those seeking to revise the government's appointment powers. Abigail Esel-Nkrumah has more in this report.
The program was the 12th Juris Confab of the University of Cape Coast Faculty of Law. The event was under the theme, Rewriting the Rulebook, Constitutional Reform in Ghana, a theme the Dean of the UCC Faculty of Law, Julia Selman Ayete Esquire, acknowledged as timely.
The theme of this conference is not only timely, but critical to Ghana's future. I trust that our speakers' expertise, experience, and viewpoints will give us cause to deeply reflect on the issues our nation currently faces.
Professor Techiwa Manu Esquire, an Emerita Professor at the University of Ghana and a Senior Fellow at CDD Ghana, is asking that a current constitutional review should include limiting the President's power of appointment.
We have a Constitutional Review Committee going on now anyway, so it's not that I'm advocating for it, it's already happening. But the point is, like other speakers said, they will receive so many submissions. So which ones will they take? Which ones may be desirable, but they are not for the Constitution. So we have to sift through what are the really important things that we should do. And one of them for me is cutting down the excessive power of the president, his power of appointments, etc.
The Vice President of Imani Center for Policy and Education, Bright Simmons, urged accountability for outcomes of policies.
We don't judge, rate, review, reward, and punish duty bearers and policymakers on the outcomes of policy and the designs of policy, except in terms of the aggregate outcomes of all policies. So, do you have food security? Do we have a good environment or a clean environment? We understand those things and we keep an eye on them, but not the pathways to them, which are just as critical. So because of that, we have huge problems in this country.
From UCC, Abigail Lissel Nkoma reports for Joy News.
Let's go to Bono East now, because with the basic education certificate examination starting today, Wrongful North is taking a stand against the growing crisis of exam malpractice, which is rising sharply across the country. But Municipal Chief Executive Cesar Fosu Champong is pushing back, personally visiting schools to deliver a powerful message encouraging students to believe in themselves. He also distributed thousands of mathematical sets and pens to all 1,600 plus BEC candidates across the municipality. And Joy News' Anas Sabit tells you more.
With the basic education certificate examination starting this week, the pressure is palpable across Wrongful North, with these young minds holding the future of the municipality. But this year, the future faces a shadow, a reported rise in exam malpractices nationwide according to the West African Examination Council. Stepping into this critical moment is the Municipal Chief Executive of Wrongful North, Cesar Fosu Champong. He is on a mission not just to wish them luck, but to arm them with belief and the literal tools for success.
More practices in examination has become a phenomenon, which I think it is not the best. It does not allow us to actualize the beauty of the examination, and it has been a problem for the entire country. All that I want to say is that when you believe in yourself, I don't think you have to rely on APO, as it's used to call, to pass. So I have encouraged the students that they should have self-belief.
And backing his word with action, the MCE brought tangible support. Thousands of mathematical sets and pens, the essential weapons for this academic battle, are being distributed to every single BEC candidate in the municipality. A gesture saying we believe in you and we've got your back.
As a municipal chief executive who was once a teacher, I know the challenges that the students face during examination. Lack of proper materials and tools that they use. That is why I took it upon myself that I'll assist them in that way.
The visit, coupled with the gesture, according to these pupils, serve as a morale booster ahead of their exam. They promise to make the entire municipality proud.
The MC coming here has served as a morale booster, which will help us to perform better in the coming examination.
I give time to the municipal chief executive that he give me these tools, and I promise him that I'll pass the exams.
Anas Sabit, Joy News, Wrongful North.
To the OT region now, because some BEC candidates in the OT region say they are ready to obtain the required scores to secure placement in their first choice schools. According to them, the support and preparation provided by the parents and teachers have equipped them well, and they are determined to achieve the necessary grades to make their families and schools proud. Peter Seno has more in this report.
Getting a grade A school in the national capital may be a daunting task for the countryside learner, but this odd, the learners say they are ready to defy. They boldly mention the schools they want to attend after this level. According to them, their teachers have prepared them well for the examinations. Here are some students from KJB district.
Accra Academy, Ketasco and Kpandu. First of all, my cousin is at Accra Academy, so I want to try my best to make it there. It has been quite good because during the exams, I've performed quite well, and then if I continue to learn better, I can make my range of what I want to target, which is 14 to 17, and then also improve the image of my school.
I'm prepared because our teachers have prepared us enough because they organize extra classes for us, night classes and even morning classes.
Another set of students I spoke to were candidates from the Karachi East municipality. Here is what they have to say.
So I'm well prepared and I do solve more questions that my previous or my past seniors have solved before. So this is how prepared I am, and I promise that when the paper comes, I'll boldly pass. I expect to get aggregate 6. That is the aggregate I expect to get. My first choice is Accra Academy. My second is Bueman Senior High.
We solve a lot of past questions. My parents also provide me textbooks to learn all the subjects, to learn and be able to pass my BSU. And I promise them I will make a grade 6 to be able to make them proud of all the payment they've done.
Some of the teachers have also indicated a challenge in question pattern by WAEC in 2024 as a challenge they had to deal with to prepare the students for the examination. Atara George is one of the teachers who prepared candidates for the exams in KJB district.
One of our major problems is that not long ago, the system, that is the curricula, has been changed. So, in changing from one step to the other, it has been a problem with us. This last year's examination, the questions were not set the way it has been. So, this time we have taken much of our time to prepare them towards the likelihood of the way the questions will be set. They have written many trial mocks towards this particular examination.
We can only wish them the best of luck and excellence. Peter Senu for Joy News.
It was all cheers for St. Louis Senior High School as they kicked off the 7th edition of the Love FM High Schools Debate Competition with a big win. The girls competed at Konfanoche Senior High School, passionately arguing against the motion, quote, online learning platforms are more effective than traditional classroom learning. Irabna Kwe caught up with the excited team after their victory and now reports.
We are here at the Christian Service University today, where day 2 of the Love FM High School debates just ended. I have some of my debaters with me here. They debated on national issues, and today's competition, I must admit, was very tough.
Many people engage in galamsey just to feed their families. Considering its devastating effect, the government have had to find alternatives to provide livelihood for the many unemployed.
Once elected, leaders avoid cracking down on illegal mining. To protect their political benefactors, this reveals a deep conflict of interest and a deliberate unwillingness to fight against the menace.
So I'm going to be speaking with KNUST SHS first. They won for the motion that free markets
should be examined in Ghana.
Okay. How do you feel after the competition?
I feel very happy and excited. At the same time, I feel like I have to do more to be able to match up to some standards.
Okay. So how do you feel coming top of the competition today?
I feel so excited because in our zone, Bompata Presec was the winners, but fortunately for us, we are able to beat the winners of Zone 3, so I'm so excited. Expect much from us because we are going to up our game in the round of 16. We are going to be unmatchable, in fact.
Let me speak to T.I. Amas. You were the principal speaker on the topic concerning galamsey. How do you feel after the competition?
Oh, I feel very excited and very happy for this victory. And all we want to say is that there is more room for improvement, and we are bringing massive fire for the round of 16.
I felt like I was losing my soul, but the quote from Bob Marley was keep ringing in my head that whom the crown fits, let them wear. So I was so steadfast.
Expect much from us because we are going to work harder so that the whole Ashanti region will believe that we are indeed the Phobians.
I have with me here Kumasi girls. Today wasn't so good for them, and they are here with their madam. What do you think went wrong today? Thank you so much. In fact, I do not understand the whole narrative. Seriously, I'm confused and I need clarity over this. Other than that, we are not okay. Okay, supporting speaker, what do you have to say to support what Madam just said?
Thank you very much, and I'm so glad, at least not having anything at all. We won our contest today over CIMAS, and just like my madam said, we will protest until we are declared winners because we don't understand this.
After they declared the result, I was very happy, but then everything got so much confusing. We're going to protest on this so they give us the clarity about what they're doing.
So while others are excited about their win, others are not so happy. I am reporting right here at the Christian Service University. My name is Arabna Akwe. I will bring you more updates in the coming days.
Arabna always puts a smile on my face, and that takes us into our business update now with Benjamin Akakbo.
Welcome to your business updates. Now, Ghana and other developing countries could be hit by some fresh threats that will affect the growth of their respective economies. This was captured in the latest World Bank report on global economic outlook. There's more in this report.
The World Bank in the report noted that this development could hurt developing countries like Ghana and result in what could be described as triple threat, that is high debt, sluggish trade, and mounting uncertainty. The World Bank in the report also noted the slowdown has been influenced by heightened trade tension and policy uncertainty as one of the main drivers of the slow growth. Thus, the World Bank says this year, 60% of the economies are going to witness weaker growth. It also added that global growth will slow down this year and would be the slowest pace since 2008 outside of outright global recessions. The World Bank argues that turmoil has resulted in growth forecasts being cut in nearly 70% of all economies across all regions and income groups.
Now, the Ghana Chamber of Mines has expressed confidence that the mining sector will continue to play a vital role in supporting the stability of the Ghana cedi in the medium to long term. Speaking at a press conference in Accra, the Chief Operating Officer of the Chamber, Ahmed Dassana Nantogma, underscored the importance of strategic collaboration with key stakeholders, particularly the Gold Board, to sustain the sector's positive contribution to economic growth.
I think that mining companies have always been responsible in their activities, paying the taxes the right amount at the right time and supporting the state. So if what we are doing has led to this stabilization, we are very happy to applaud ourselves, as you say. But it's not because when they repatriate their profit, it affects the cedi. Mining companies return over 74% of whatever they make into this country. And that has been the norm over the past 10 years. So it's just the approach to how we are using our currency that has helped change. And also, like Ken said, geopolitical activities also affect some of these things. If you know what Trump is doing, the tariffs against what China, a lot of people are moving away from the dollar. And that also let the dollar reduce the shine. So those things, but working together, even with the Gold Board and everybody, to keep the mining industry afloat, then we can continue to see that we have a long-term stabilization of our currency. We don't want flash in the pan. Today is up, tomorrow is down. We want something that is stable, that is sustainable, and that mining companies who are contributing to this can then, for once, be appreciated for what we have been doing all these years. Because when it goes bad, they say mining companies. Anytime it's good. But when it's good, people are a bit shy. But we have been bringing a lot of currency back into the country.
Now, from those stories, let's get into our commodities market now. Thank you for staying for your business updates. We take a breather now. When we return, we'll be serving you all the action in sports, courtesy of Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
Bringing sports now on the AM show. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. The Ghana Football Association has finally taken a decision in the matter between the Basake Holy Stars and Nations FC. You recall that in the penultimate Ghana Premier League matches that were played, Basake Holy Stars and Nations FC's encounter had to be abandoned because Nations FC decided to walk away from the field following what they described as poor officiating. They later released a statement enumerating the reasons why they decided to walk away from it. And the Ghana Football Association had protests filed by the two clubs. This is a decision that has been taken by the disciplinary committee of the Ghana Football Association, which is led by its chairman, Osei Kwadwo Addo, with Emmanuel Nikoi, Nathaniel Laye, and Clara Essie as its secretary. It says that after going through the proceedings, they realized that the disposition by Basake Holy Stars petitioner and Nations FC respondent in respect of the protest filed by Basake Holy Stars, the dispositions of Nations FC cross-petitioner and Basake Holy Stars as cross-respondent in respect of the protest filed by Nations FC, the Ghana Football Association, in their ruling, identified that the Nations FC would have to forfeit the match because per the regulations governing the Ghana Premier League, especially Article 33, subsection 2 or B of the Ghana Football Association Premier League Regulations 2019, a club that decides to walk away from a game, they are losing, or even before they suffer a defeat, unless, of course, they are leading by 4-0, such a club will have to forfeit the match. And you will recall that when I brought up that story here on the show, I'd mentioned to you that Nations FC were likely to suffer point deduction and forfeiture of this game for their decision to abandon it because per Article 33(2) of the Ghana Football Association regulations, they had forfeited the match. So the Ghana Football Association, in their ruling, which was released on Tuesday, clearly stated that Nations FC have forfeited the match. And these are the details. They say the committee therefore makes the following decisions: that the protest of Basake Holy Stars shall succeed, the protest of Nations FC is dismissed, that Nations FC initiated the acts that led to the abrupt end of the match. Nations FC shall forfeit the match in accordance with Article 33(1)B of the Ghana Premier League Regulations 2019, to be specific here. And that having forfeited the match, Nations FC shall be considered as having lost the match in accordance with Articles 33(2) and 34(12), and accordingly 3 points and 3 goals are hereby awarded in favor of Basake Holy Stars. That in addition, being the defaulting club, Nations FC shall lose 3 points from the club's accumulated points from their previous matches, pursuant to Article 33(5)A of the GFA Premier League regulations. That in addition, being the defaulting club, Nations FC is hereby fined 2,500 Ghana cedis payable to the GFA, 50% of which shall be paid to Basake Holy Stars, pursuant to Article 33(5)B of the Premier League regulations. That the GFA prosecutor shall investigate the reports of the match officials and charge all persons found culpable. And that should any party be dissatisfied or aggrieved by this decision, the party has within a day of being notified of this ruling to appeal to the appeals committee of the Ghana Football Association. So following that decision by the Ghana Football Association Disciplinary Committee, the table of the Ghana Premier League 2 has changed. It's changed because Nations FC, that previously had about 60 points, they've now lost some points, so they've lost their place. So at the top is Bibiani Gold Stars, who were crowned champions with 63 points, followed by Kumasi, Asante Kotoko, and Accra House of Oak in that order. So that is how the Ghana Premier League table now looks like. So it is Bibiani Gold Stars who are first, Heart of Lions are second, Kumasi, Asante Kotoko are third, and House of Oak are fourth. So these are the top 4 teams in the Ghana Premier League following the ruling by the Ghana Football Association, the matter between Basake Holy Stars and Nations FC. We move on to bring on other stories. We are building up to the Ghana Football Awards, and there are going to be awards handed to living legends like the likes of Herbert Mensah, Harry Zekom, and Ken Bidiaku, a veteran sports journalist. And Nana Brew Butler, who is a former chairman of the Ghana Football Association, has been eulogizing the True for their contribution to the development of football in Ghana.
He's a great guy. He's contributed a lot to this sector. And so he did it at Olympics. He moved to Hearts of Oak and he even did better. I also had the opportunity to show my appreciation to him when Hearts of Oak were going to the championship in Africa and they had to go somewhere to acclimatize. I got my company, Arab Contractors, to host them in Egypt, prepare them well, and they went and conquered Africa under Harry Zekom. So, Harry, congratulations.
Then there's Herbert.
Herbert, hey, in his own right, okay. A bit controversial, I might say, but he's a lovely guy if you get to know him. I got to know him. He has a lot of respect for me, and so do I. And even for his humanitarian gestures, especially on 9th of May, when we had that disaster. I cannot forget because I lost my worker, my good electrician. And guess what? The next day, 10th, has always been my birthday. So as soon as it's coming, it's sadness, but my birthday also comes, so I can't forget. And the way he's gotten himself involved emotionally to that day. When the day comes, it's not just those fallen victims, but it's Herbert Mensah as well. So Herbert, congratulations.
Sorry.
And you are talking about Ken Bidiaku,
exactly.
A veteran journalist, full of history. I read a lot from him. A friend of his, Ike Duse, who's on a common platform with us, is always posting his writings. And I do not contribute a lot there, but I can assure him that all the writings, all his contributions, I do read. I really read them. And most of them very factual, very historic. So Ken, a veteran journalist, in your own right, congratulations.
Ken Bidiaku, indeed a venerable journalist, one man who has covered Ghana's success in all the African Cup of Nations Ghana participated in. And for him to be honored as one of the living legends by the Ghana Football Awards team is quite thoughtful. From the people or the legends, let's go to the current actors on the pitch. And we are looking at the women who are going to be honored this weekend for their roles in the success of their various clubs. My colleague Alon Banana, the family has details in this report.
Alice Kusi, the dynamic Ghanaian midfielder, has been a standout performer for her club in the 2024-25 season, showcasing her flair, vision, and clinical edge across 15 matches. With an impressive tally of 5 goals and 11 assists, Kusi has proven herself as a potential figure in her team's attacking machinery, blending creativity with goal-scoring prowess. In her 15 appearances, Kusi has consistently dictated the tempo of matches, using technical ability to unlock defense. Her 11 assists highlights her role as her team's primary playmaker, setting up teammates with precise passes and incisive runs. She contributed to her club winning the SAF Women's Cup. Mary Bekum, the captain and attacking linchpin of Police Ladies FC, has been a standout performer in the 2024-25 Malta Guinness Women's Premier League, leading her team to the Southern Zone title and the Premier League title. As a versatile attacking midfielder, her leadership and clutch performances have been central for Police Ladies' dominant campaign. Her contributions have not only earned her accolades, but also a maiden call-up to the Black Queens, cementing her status as one of Ghana's brightest women's football talents. Her 8 goals in 18 league games contributed a lot to the success of the team. 22-year-old Ghanaian forward Doris Boedua has continued to make waves in the 2024-25 season, showcasing her talents and versatility with Hapoel Jerusalem FC in the Israel Women's Premier League, and played a key role in Ghana's qualification for the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations. Her 4 goals in 7 competitive matches for the Black Queens under coach Nora Haptel underlined her importance for the team. She bagged 18 goals in 26 games this season, providing 4 assists. Mary Aponsa, the talismanic forward for Apem Dankwa Ladies, has yet again proven herself as one of the most lethal strikers in the 2024-25 Malta Guinness Women's Premier League. A consistent goal scorer and leader for the Northern Zone champions, Amponse's performances have been pivotal in Ampem Dakwa's run to the national playoff final. Her 15 goals in just 12 league games won her successive Goal Queen title. Her impressive output in the league got her a deal with Chinese club Zhengzheng Hangzhou FC.
The Thomas Partey tournament, which started on Tuesday. Let's take a look at the teams that are participating in this year's event. And it is a competition Thomas Partey actually believes that will give young players the opportunity to be able to grow and have a career in the game of football. So these are the teams: Koa Naso, the Braka Elders, Tamale Vision. They are in Group A. For Group B, we have Prince Kala, Field Masters, and Winneba Youth FC. For Group C, we have DYs, The Zero, Namoro, Downtown Youth, and Sporting, as well as for CFC. So these are the teams that have been drawn for this year's competition.
Features 12 youth teams comprising of promising talents from across the country, all competing not only for silverware, but for the opportunity to be scouted by clubs. Local and international scouts will be in attendance throughout the 4-day event to give the platform for identifying and nurturing the next generation of Ghanaian football stars. Through this initiative, Thomas Partey continues to give back to the football community that helped shape his professional journey, demonstrating that meaningful impact extends beyond the pitch. The tournament will conclude with the final match on Friday, June 13.
This is our wrap-up sports here on the AM show with me, Muftau Nabila Abla. Head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories. We appreciate your company.
You're still live on the AM show, and we're here. We're about to serve you the news review in just a bit. But don't you forget, the AM show is proudly sponsored by Whaley Properties. We provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. And my question to you this morning: are you thinking of a rewarding investment you can engage in? Well, I have a clue for you. Waylead Company Limited is your preferred choice for such an investment. Waylead Company Limited is a real estate company with several developments to its credit right here in Accra. And we're now inviting you to invest in our new development, Willow Lane, where elegance meets tranquility in the heart of Accra. We provide quality housing at an affordable cost and with a flexible payment option. But there's more. At Whaley Properties, we provide you with 24-hour security, reliable power supply, and other social amenities to make your stay memorable. Just pick up your phone, note these numbers down, and give Whaley Properties a call. 0240 111 119 or 0504 499 999. You can also visit our website, www.waylead.org. Now, coming up, those joining us for the news review, we have Dr. Kwame Asante. He is a political scientist. He is also head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. We have Dr. Jabir Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School. And joining us in the studio, Moses Benisan. He's a financial consultant and a man of the cloth. He's a pastor as well. All of them join the conversation. And of course, to my left, you have Red Riding Hood.
So I moved from Mary Poppins, now I'm Red Riding Hood.
You're in red today, so Red Riding Hood.
I love red. Gentlemen, good morning. I'm the only lady among you, so let me take it over from here. Usually we give our guests about 2 minutes most to walk us through their reflections on any topical issue. But I want to start from Zoom, and then I'll circle back to you. Good morning, Dr. Kwame Asante. Share your thoughts with us this morning. Do we have Dr. Kwame Asante on Zoom yet? Okay.
Suti, and good morning. Good morning, Suti.
I think we have a bit of a challenge with...
I greet also.
Okay, Doc, let me move to Dr. Mohammed. There's some challenge with your connection. So give me some time. Let me go back to Dr. Mohammed. I'll circle back to you. We're struggling with your connection, Dr. Kwame Asante. So, Dr. Mohammed, let me throw the baton to you now. What's on your mind? What are you sharing with us this morning?
Yeah, good morning to you and good morning to our listeners. This morning, I want to go to the nurses' strike. Honestly speaking, yes, strikes are very important. These are ways that labor have to use, be able to unravel their challenges. But sometimes the demand that we make will sometimes be very difficult for the government to be able to meet. I just went through some of the demands that they are making. And honestly speaking, the government says that it's going to cost them about 2 billion Ghana cedis to be able to resolve it annually. And some of the items they have in their demand, I ask myself whether those items are really warranted, and whether those items are really what they should be asking for. For instance, I saw one of them which says that they want a funeral grant. I'm wondering why should they be requesting for a funeral grant? If they are requesting for a risk allowance, I don't know whether that is already in their salary, in their pay slip, but if they're asking for risk allowance, that is more justifiable and more reasonable in my candid opinion. They have the right, all right, but some of the items in their request is something that I find a bit worrying. And another one I also see is that they're asking for fuel allowance and they're asking for kilometric allowance. I don't know the difference between the fuel allowance and the kilometric allowance. Whether the kilometric allowance is for how long or the distance that they travel or what to their workplace. And even with that, you are already taking fuel allowance. And you also want car maintenance allowance, which I think these are justifiable ones. And another one, they say they want book and research allowance. I don't know whether they also do research at their workplaces like we academia do or not. If they do not do, why should they be requesting for book and research allowance? Maybe they could substitute that with continuous improvement allowance, something that because that is more.
But Doc, you see, the thing is, they're saying that they've moved past negotiations at this point. These are conditions of service that were agreed upon, pen was put to paper. It's just about implementation at this point of the conversation.
Someone can agree, someone can review. So the government should consider reviewing some of the agreement. Okay, they can come and say, okay, well, you have agreed on this, but we think that in our candid opinion, ABCD may not be something that we want to honor, but we can review that and substitute that with another items. And they say they want 13th month allowance. Most of these organizations are consumption institutions. They don't generate much. So even if you want 13th month allowance, you should be an organization that is generating enough to be able to pay off all your claims, and you still have something reserved so that that can be paid to you. So if any other government worker will come and say that will also month 13th allowance. How is it going to look like? We lecturers, we work 24/7. We don't, if you are sleeping, we sleep with problems. We wake up with problems. All the time we are working. Even during vacation, we are working. Yet, we cannot come and say we are demanding for 13 months allowance.
Dr. Mohammed, you've exhausted it 2 minutes, and I'm sure we'll come back to this striking nurses story again, because it's all over in the newspapers this morning. So let me go to Dr. Kwame Asasante, and then when we get into the newspapers proper, we can get more time on this. Dr. Kwame Asasante, hopefully we've resolved your connection now. Please share your thoughts with us this morning. It looks like today we have a bit of challenge with Dr. Kwame Asasante. So let me come back into the studio.
Hello?
Oh, hi, Doc. Please go ahead if you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Is it clear?
Yes, it's better now.
All right.
Doc, what are your thoughts for us this morning before we proceed?
Issues. And
he's speaking, but it's not clear.
I think he's now hearing what I said.
Please, can you hear me?
We can, Doc.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's come to the studio. We'll continue with Doc later. This is a bit of a challenge with us this morning. Okay. Pastor, good morning again.
Good morning.
What's on your mind? I mean, there's so much going on in the country, but it's your take now.
Yes, there's so much going on, and I believe that it's all very important. And when things happen like that, we are able to build consensus and then forge a path into the future. I believe that it is government's responsibility to rally everybody around in order for us to make the progress that we want to make. As much as leadership decision-making processes are very important, I believe the Bible said when the righteous rule, the people rejoice. So I always caution our leaders to have clarity of thought, to also have the welfare of the people at heart. So that whenever we are making decisions, the decisions we are making them on the basis of what we believe is good for the people and for the country. As much as leadership has responsibilities, I believe that we, the citizens, also have a lot to do.
Right.
And so in certain countries, it is a deliberate decision to nurture citizens to become very patriotic. So they train the head for you to be intelligent. They train the hand to be very hardworking and industrious, and then they train the heart. That is where the whole issue is, the heart, so that we all put the interest of the nation ahead of our emotions and individual party connections.
Thank you so much. Can I stick to Pastor Moses?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
okay, great. So, Benjamin, do you want to try again? I don't know if...
Let's see whether... Dr. Asante, can you hear us, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what are your brief thoughts for us so we can proceed? We'd like to actually start the conversation off from the standpoint of education, but what are your thoughts for us?
Right. I want to look at the nurses issue. We want to urge the nurses to meet with government, find a lasting solution to this problem. We know that and they are fighting for it. And but we also that the people are also suffering. They must also look back and see this. I find it very worrying because something that has been agreed by government, all parties sign, nurses sign, fair wages, government sign, nurses sign. Why is it that government say that? Budget, my understanding is that things that are of importance, the budget are the things that get in. So it tells me that, look, the government did not it was not a priority of government. That's unfortunate. Because this thing, what the government, you don't have the resources, have a conversation with them that we can pay you X amount and then stagger the rest from next year and all that. If it's about ex gratia, you will put it in the budget. Some actors must benefit from it. That's unfair. It's unfair to the nurses. We take their also issue matter. Nurses are also important. Let us not gloss over that. But you would have put it in the budget. And that, I think, is unfair. They should be able to what? Do something that will bring smiles on both parties.
Well, thank you, Dr. Kwame Asasante, for those brief thoughts this morning. Let's get straight into the newspapers. Daily Graphic first? That's the major...
Well, yes, we'll do the Daily Graphic, but don't you forget, we'll also be delving into that issue in respect of education, BECE, exam malpractices, and some circumstances at different centers. Hopefully this time we can weather the storm. We'll bring you some footage on that in a bit. But very quickly, the Daily Graphic newspaper, nurses strike, government committed to dialogue. Dr. Asante was just talking about whether there were in fact plans to adhere to the commitments made in 2024, May 2024. I heard yesterday talk about how this will add an extra 2 billion Ghana cedis to, these compensations that have been planned, and how that could throw some things out of gear in the budget. But at the same time, once these commitments have been made, how do we handle them? Government has spoken about next year, 2026, and the GRNMA is saying no way. But how do we break the standoff? That issue is there. More data for same price from July the 1st, Sam George assures. Chamber of Licensed Gold Buyers secures EPA fee waiver. Explore investment opportunities back home. Diaspora Investment Forum speakers. On the back page, squatters pose threat to Ghana-Lebanon Islamic School, and timber racketeers invade Abutia Game Reserve. Let me start from there. So armed timber racketeers believed to be coming from a neighboring country have invaded the Kalakpa Game Reserve in Abutia in the Ho West District in the Volta region. They cut trees and hunt buffaloes and antelopes in the reserve with impunity. Now, unless drastic steps are taken to halt the trend, the reserve will soon become a desert, the paramount chief of Abutia, Togbegan Abutia Kojo Gidi, the 5th, has said. He disclosed this to the Daily Graphic after a tree planting exercise in the Abutia communities of Teti, Agobe, and Chloe last Sunday as part of activities in the commemoration of this year's World Environment Day. This comes across as so sad. People can come from a neighboring country, enter our forest, do what they like, benefit from it, and go back. Similar to Galamsey, where a lot of those in the industry are foreigners. Then on the story of the squatters, the Ghana-Lebanon Islamic Secondary School has sent a distress call to the government and relevant state security agencies to take immediate steps to demolish a slum community around the school. The nefarious activities of squatters at a sprawling slum that straddles the Odo River from the Graphic Road to the old Kwame Nkrumah Circle area are posing serious safety and security threats to GLIS. Why I'm also highlighting this story has to do with a plethora, not just of schools, institutions in this country that have suffered same. If you look at my alma mater, the University of Ghana, even that institution has had its own struggles in there. Atomic, right? The Ghana Atomic, entity, it has had its own struggles, encroachment and all of that. Why do we always wait for this to happen? Let me just add this story for now, the banner headline on the nurses' strike. So the Minister of Health, Kwabena Minta-Akando, has reiterated the government's commitment to resolving the ongoing strike by the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association through dialogue, and he has urged the association to call off its strike in the interest of patients. Addressing the media at the Jubilee House yesterday, Mr. Akando expressed regret over the impasse which had disrupted healthcare services across the country. Let me hold it there and get your responses, gentlemen. I'll start with you, Dr. Mohammed. Hello, Dr. Mohammed. Dr. Jabir Mohammed, are you with us?
Perhaps unmute.
I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Okay, so the issue of the timber, I mean, it's our Ministry of Environment and Science and also Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. They have to just up their game in most of these game reserves. And frankly speaking, if you continue to have your game and your timber being depleted, it is something really very serious. And they have to take critical steps to be able to unravel this particular situation. If they are able to do so, we can maintain our environment sound. I remember recently that the green tree planting project, one student for one tree was launched recently. And this is something that we need to encourage. Even in our homes, we have to be able to plant trees so that we can conserve the environment. Our schools, our workplaces, etc., tree planting is very important. So it's not just only on the game reserves, but we have to take critical steps to stop that. And also, the security agencies must work very hard, hand in hand with them, so that they can put a stop to this. Now, on the issue of the squatters, after the squatters, they are everywhere. They come into your land by small pieces. By the time you realize, they have spread all over the place. So, I mean, the place, they did not just start right now. They started a very long time. One person will come, another person will come. So as they keep coming, you have to find ways and means of getting them out of the place. Otherwise, by the time you realize, they have taken all over all the whole place. If you look at Accra Girls, in front of Accra Girls, you will see some people sitting there and all of that. They took steps to be able to remove them. So if you go to that place, you will not see a lot of people there. Most often they start by hawking. So if you leave them continue to hawk there, by the time you realize they have mounted some shelves to sleep in there and keep their wares there. So these things, we can easily do them if you plan the city properly. AMA has to be serious about it. KMA has to be serious about it. All the assemblies have to be serious about hawking. They have to be serious about people who do squattering in some of these places. Now, finally, on the nurses AMPAs, I believe that the ministry is really working very hard, and the ministry should be able to resolve the problem. I was just speaking about some of the items in their demand, even though I don't have anything against them because it is their right to demand for some of these things. But I was always saying that we have to be reasonable in some of the demands. And it has to make sense, because if it doesn't make sense, all other group of labor unions will come and say that they also need some of these things. And how is the government going to resolve them? Something like fuel allowance, car maintenance allowance, risk allowance, and all of that is actually related to their work. Professional allowance. How can you be working and you expect government to pay for your professional allowance? I mean, this one, I don't know whether accountants and other people, the government pay for their professional allowance. If government is not doing that, I think that they should also take that component. These things has been agreed upon. So they have to find ways and means of resolving the issue. Because the items are so many, it is difficult for the government to be able to honor that obligation. So they can come into an agreement with them so that they can strike a balance.
Right.
And they can come back and take care of us.
Dr. Mohammed, just a quick follow-up on this. I have a message coming through from one Abdul Rashid Awimpang, who says, there is nothing like, and he sort of sent me a Facebook Messenger message. So I'm assuming he's a nurse. He says, there's nothing like kilometric and vehicle maintenance allowance in the current conditions of service. And he also says on research allowance, book and research allowance is for our nurses in academia and not everyone. And he also says that some nurses are lecturers in training institutions. I just wanted you, since you are talking about that, are you cognizant of these facts?
No, I'm not privy to that. That's why I was only asking that, are they also doing research that is warranting them to be taking book and research allowance? But if he says that those who are teaching in nursing institutions, that is justifiable because they also have to research, they also have to, because they have nursing training schools. These are nursing training schools. So those people are dual workers. They work as nurses and they also they also teach at the training school. And these people are justifiable. They can be put under the Ministry of Education and they can be given book and research allowance. And for that one, it is because you cannot be teaching without research. And if you don't research, how do you improve on your output?
Right.
So I believe that is more justifiable.
All right. Let me bring in Dr. Kwame Asante, and then we'll come into the studio and Sweetie will take it from there. Doc, what is your take on these stories?
Yeah. Ben, I'm not able my video. Can you help me out?
I think maybe because of the quality, because of the internet, if you use video, it will stall even more. So it's better to stick to the sound.
Okay with that. Let me start with those who forest with impunity. It's worrying. Tied with Galamsey activities and all that. Then I ask myself, is Ghana or our sovereignty is being taken away? Because there's people and all the lands within your power, is that part of our land is taken over by miscreant people who do not have power to do that. It is not the case that I'll fight this battle. I trust Ghana Army and I'll always vouch for them for that. The political class have not given them opportunity to act the way they ought to. Sense must cease. We are here and people are depleting the forest. State must begin to what? Act and act very, very fast. We have institutions and continue to serve this country well. Why don't you engage them and route all these people from the forest? What an ecosystem, which is what very, very, very few of squatters. It's a long story. They've been, and we don't know whether our authorities are aware. They do, what are they doing to what? Get them what? It's a worrying situation because not only do they squat activities that are inimical to the survival of the state, that are this land. So I believe that a country like Ghana, which is a country of laws, we should not be able to what? Implement the law to the letter to make sure that all these things become nothing but a thing of the past. Next strike. I'll continue to maintain my government did not do well with them because look, their demands are also critical. So once you look at them, you should meet them halfway. I'm not sure the previous government erred in approving that document. All the things they presented to them, there are people who are experts who and realize that they are fit for purpose. So since government is a continuum to take it upon itself and then, support them, come and tell us that, look, if you put it into the budget, it will throw the greatest respect. It's an insult to the nurses and it's not the best. Government should not make that statement, right? Because if it were ex gratia, you would put it in and benefit from the bulk class. You are shying away from their demand. I agree that the figure is big to pay. Sit down with them and even show them a little payment and then show them the end of the rest. And I'm sure who else will fail and they will accept this.
All right.
I am telling you now, this is the way forward. Do it and we are good to go.
All right. Thank you for those thoughts. Let's come into the studio, Moses.
Yes, very interesting topics. When you read the biblical account, God created forests before he created human beings because he knows that there is no way we can survive here without the trees and the forest, etc. If you look around, there is a lot of pollution around. The air we breathe is not as pure as it is meant to be. And it's very, very unfortunate. When I was growing up, there were parks that you can just walk to go and relax with your family. But now, if you're looking for a place to relax, it's very difficult.
Concrete and quant.
Yes, concrete, like bricks and mortar everywhere. And unfortunately, when we are even building our homes, we still don't take these things into consideration. I believe that we have to be very intolerant and take a very hard stand on this to make sure that we preserve our forest. And also to come to realize that most of these things that are going on are by people who have just invaded our space. I believe that sometimes these people don't just do it alone. They have local collaborators that they collaborate with. And so, therefore, the institutions that are responsible, they must act as soon as possible. A lot of time, we are not very proactive in finding solutions. We wait until it gets into a situation of chaos before we start waking up and tapping people who must do what they have to do. We have to be very serious about resolving this issue. I also believe that the punitive measures should be very clear, should be clear to everybody, so that you know that when you enter a forest reserve, you do things that you're not supposed to do. These are the punishment. And when people are caught or arrested, let's deal with them according to the law or what is stipulated. There is this thing that you get somebody who is doing a wrong thing, and then uncles are coming to beg, aunties are coming to beg. I am a pastor. People will come to me. Someone has stolen, and they've asked me to go and plead at the police station for the person. But you see, we put in a word or two, and then we advise the person who is involved. But then...
Let's stay there for a second. I don't mean to take you on this, but you just said that when people are found culpable, someone commits a crime and you find them, you should hold their feet to account. Let them face justice, right?
Yes.
He who pays the piper dances by a tune, or whatever that's...
Calls the tune,
Yeah. So if someone is going to someone goes to steal something and they come to you as a pastor and they say, please go and plead on our behalf, why would you do that?
Our work is both, is mainly transformational. So it becomes an opportunity for you to actually now spell out the person's wrong to him. And then pray for the person for God's forgiveness. And the rest, you intercede. But
does it work?
The law must always take its course. It works.
So in other words, you're saying you don't interfere with the law.
No, I don't interfere.
But you try to. But by going to plead for the person,
so then what happens is that, you see, what happens is that when you pray for the person, prayer has a way of giving the person encouragement and hope that he can go through the punishment and come out and then forge a better path for himself.
Okay, so if I understand you well, it means you go there, you share, you talk to people, you pray with the person, but you're not telling the police don't do your work.
No. Right. We are not telling the police not to do their work. If not, then why did we appoint them to be there? You see, we have to build a country that laws and systems work. Yeah. If they don't work, all of us are in danger.
And it can't be selective. But I just wanted to run this quickly by you. I just have some headlines I'll go through and then Sweetie will take over. So, because we are talking about exam malpractice and all of that, this also came to mind. I don't know what your take is on it. It's become so rife that they will tell you that as they go higher from JHS to SHS, from SHS to university, at the university level, they will tell you a lot of these people come in with straight A's and sometimes all of these. You put them to the test and they are found, and sometimes shockingly, those that came in with aggregate 12, 10, 15 are the ones who turn out to be the stars in the classroom. I heard a story once in a theology school. And, of course, these are past the sitting exams. And lo and behold, they were cheating. and the person who told me, and no, this actually happened. the person was supervising, and he was saying, but if you, the pastors and the rest, bishops and the rest, you are cheating in the classroom, what will you do out there in church? What's your take on this example practice thing?
I mean, like you rightly said, I have been through several theological institutions, and it was a shock of my life.
You saw it too?
So we're writing exams, and then I had, and then when I turned, it was an elderly man who was also in the class with us, and he was giving side. I was surprised to see something like that happen in a theological institution. You see, when theology establishment doesn't make a pastor out of a person. In a theology establishment, you have a thief who is there. You have a fetish priest who is there. We are there to study. It's an academic environment. And unfortunately, students always want to be students, irrespective of their age or where they are coming from or where they are. But you see, if the foundation is wrong, we will never get it right at any level. That's why I am one person who is of the view that we should really look at the academic system all over again, beginning from the initial stages, so that we nurture values and teach people to be patriotic and do the right things to advance the nation. What I would say about this in all is that a research was made, and the outcome of the research was that the countries that were doing well academically are also doing well economically. And the countries that are not doing well academically are also not doing well economically. So there is no way we can separate academic progress from economic progress. So if we want to build the economy of the country and create a better environment for our people, we have to take the academic establishment very serious. Making studies easier for people and letting people study what is relevant for our situation. You see, we learned things in school that we didn't need in life.
Find X.
Find X.
I never found X.
Consider
X,
the table.
X is still on the run.
And then this one, I always make a joke of this, like assuming 5 people clear 3 plots of land within 2 hours.
How long will it take 2 people to?
It has already been cleared. But you see, I believe that we have to take our educational system very serious and tailor the curriculum to solve our problems.
We need the mathematical acumen and the rest, but not everyone is interested. For example, in my year group, when you get a certain aggregate, they want to push you straight to science. I fare well in the sciences and mathematics and all that, but that was not my passion. That was not my area of interest. I think if we started right from the bottom, letting people lean towards where they are passionate, I think it will help us all. Very quickly, we have to go, and I'll come to you so you share your ideas and then run with the rest of the papers. Kenyan blogger was assaulted to death, and that's an interesting issue happening in Kenya. Politicians accused of Liberia Parliament arson bailed for $440,000. It's interesting looking at the figure involved. Thousands more troops sent to Los Angeles. Sisi, I don't know whether you followed Donald Trump and the whole crackdown. The administration of Donald Trump has sent thousands more troops to Los Angeles on day 4 of chaotic protests against immigration raids as the unrest spread to other U.S. cities. There have been mass protests, 700 Marines sent out. And the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, said the move was fulfilling, quotes, the deranged fantasy of a dictatorial president who will leave the United States to deal with their own issues. And finally, more data for same price from July 1st. Sam George assures. So from July 1st, quoting him, all data bundles will see at least 10% increments in value. For instance, the 400 Ghana cedi bundle currently offering 195 gigabytes will now deliver 236 gigabytes. Another package going for 90 gigabytes for 400 cedis will increase to 250 gigabytes. There are more details on page 13 of the paper. Sweetie, maybe you can find out from our guests whether they have any reflections. If not, we get into other papers.
Yeah, let's get right to it. Dr. Kwame Asante, quick thoughts on the headlines that Ben just read, and then we get into BCE. Dr. Kwame Asante, you can hear me. Please unmute. Okay, Dr. Mohammed, if you're with us, quick reflections on the headlines. What's happening in the USA? I, for one, I want to stay out of it, but I think there are some things in there that we can emulate. You know, they just ended BET, Benjamin, and how some of the stars who won their awards use those platforms to speak against what Donald Trump is doing, using military personnel to raid people. I mean, I don't want to get into the politics of it, but I'm trying to say that our creative arts industry players should also take a cue from that. And if something is going wrong, don't be afraid of political powers. Speak up, because you have huge platforms, you have huge followings, and that's really where young people, watchers of the economy and the rest, that is where we listen to for the entertainment. So it's good to get some tidbits there as well. Dr. Mohammed, I'm on you now, please. Quick reflections on these stories, especially the data issue. I think that's a big one.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Honestly speaking, after Donald Trump, I don't know how he has already been given the headlines before he became president. He told us what he was in for, and the people of America gave him the mandate. But that doesn't mean that you should take the advantage to get everybody out of the country. You cannot live in isolation. You need people to live with. And most of the immigrants in the country are actually doing some jobs. I know it is important that they should get the right papers. If they don't have, and they have lived the country up to some time, try to see how you can resolve the cases and get some of them the right document to be able to work within the country. Or if better still, if you still want to deport them, you deport them in an honorable manner. Just look at him. He has had a fallout with even Elon Musk, who did a very serious campaign for him. So his rule is becoming more anarchic and more chaotic, rather than trying to govern and solve the people of problems of America. So I think that he's becoming more of a nuisance than he's becoming of a leader to the people. Even look at it. They are describing him to be a dictator. How can this be so? A whole America, some of these things do not really happen. It is making us look more superior even than them, because you can't find this in Ghana. Even though we also have a lot of immigrants in the country, we will not take that approach. So I think that he has to relook at some of the things that he does and be able to resolve them. And most of the other people who can talk using the social media, those in the creative arts industry should strengthen their campaigns against him. And I believe that this can go a long way to resolve most of the problems they are facing currently.
Okay.
Now, on the data issue, it is something big, because we researchers are more interested in using data. And even overall, not only researchers, many other users will be very, very happy, because some time back, if I buy the 350 Ghana cedis, I get 250 data points, and now it is just 190. And I'm very happy that it has now moved to 236, which is something that I will really be happy with, because I usually buy my data in bulk. So if this is now happening, why wouldn't I be happy? I mean, and it's going to make businesses more reliable and more, it's going to be more cost effective, because now, you know, the city is now appreciating. So because of that, I think they can also still make their profits as a result of that. So I don't think that we should still keep the data price very high. And internet is very important. Now you cannot do without internet. It has to be accessible to everybody. So I'm really, really happy about that. And I think there was a last issue that you mentioned.
Ben, what was that last issue?
I don't know which of them. Okay, there was the Kenyan blogger. There was the politicians accused of Liberia Parliament arson bail for $440,000. I took the one on the Los Angeles situation and the troops, and then data from July the 1st. So I don't know which one you'd like to.
Now, the issue of the Liberia case is something that they have to really look at, because after a politician, when you begin to corrupt, there should be a collective bargain. The collective bargain in the sense that you need to have the people at heart, work hard for the people, let the condition of the people improve, and after all, you benefit as a result of that. If you look at China, China did a collective bargain with their people. They say, okay, well, we the leaders want to sacrifice for the nation. Let's forget our personal interests. Let's work very hard to ensure that we improve the conditions of the people. And when we improve the economy, overall, all of us are going to be affected in the long run. And they did so. And today, if you look at China, China is becoming a superpower. It's because of the decision that their leaders take. So I will encourage all African leaders to follow the footsteps of China and India and other places because they did a collective bargain. They decided to leave out their personal interests and concentrated on the general will of the people.
Right.
They didn't say that we want to concentrate on our personal interests, but the general will of the people. So politicians must understand that we voted them into power to concentrate our interests, the interests of the nation, but not their personal interests.
All right.
So the person must be dealt with as in accordance with the law.
Thank you, Dr. Mohammed. So, Dr. Kwame Asasante, I hear you're back with us now. And on the issue of data costs, the reduction or the increase in data bundles and what's happening in the USA, Donald Trump using military personnel to, should I say, ransack people. But over to you, your quick reflections on these.
Right.
Immigrants.
I think data is life. You need it every time. In this world that we have today, you cannot do without data. But if it is expensive, then it becomes out of reach of ordinary man. Meanwhile, we want ordinary people to be able to access so as to be able to be part and parcel of the information superhighway. So I am happy that we are getting a reduced price in that. As a child of Oliver, I expect more. If we get more reduction, fine. But let's use them wisely and use.
It appears we've lost Dr. Asante again. Today, the data, the very data he's talking about, that is live, seems not to be helping him much.
Right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
All right. In spite of the challenge, I still believe in the data commission. But having said this, let me look at also, I think you touch on examination malpractice, which caught my attention. It's becoming a ritual. Every year, students will go and write the exam, and we hear of examination malpractice and all that. Very little is done to arrest this problem. Yes. In recent times, what is so worrying is that we have found parents who are part and parcel of these evil business, trying to get questions for their wars and all that. It points to one thing, that socialization has broken down. How we inculcate values in people from childhood to adulthood is gone. Now, parents who are supposed to shepherd these children through this process to become the best for their society, they themselves are guilty. They are complicit. So what do you expect children do? So we as a state must look at these things and how best we can deal with this. You have teachers who cut corners and then promise children heaven and earth that, look, getting to the exam will be able to bring something to you and all that. And in fact, they are able to do that. So why wouldn't parents and students also get attracted to these things? Let us work to the very best of our ability than to cut corners. It doesn't help anybody. Any society that is built on that obviously will crumble. And then I'll touch on the LA issues and matters arising there. It's unfortunate. But people like us, it doesn't come to us as a surprise because Mr. Trump has his own style of governance, and sometimes it's very difficult to understand him. But hey, people get the leaders that they deserve. So what they are experiencing, the good people of America voted for him, And whether they like it or not, they have to bear with that. But it's unfortunate that events have taken a different turn, and matters of this nature, which ought to be approached differently, there is what? Unnecessary abuse of power and then display of power on the part of the president. It's unfortunate because there are so many ways in dealing with such problem than what is being seen now. But hey, people get the government that they deserve.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kwame Asasante. People get the government that they deserve. So let me get into the news. Oh, I have to come to you, and then I'll get into my newspapers. Pastor Moses, quick reflections on these as well.
Yes, I believe that the slogan of America is the land of the free, home of the brave. But gradually it's becoming the land of the fearful, home of the terrorized. But you see, we have to identify what made America great. I believe that this slogan captures it, the land of the free, home of the brave. America is America. Sometimes I feel like Donald Trump is very fixated about countries like China and Russia. But China is China. Russia is Russia. This is America. What makes America a beautiful country is based on this. And the fact that they believe that in God we trust. So when you are executing policies, you must do it with human face. The way they heckle people and separating parents from children and etc. I believe that it needs a little more to it. It shouldn't just be that way. There should be some human face to what they are doing. I also want to say that, just to summarize on the education thing, I believe that people have to understand that the first in exam is not always the first in life. But when it comes to education, it's like a competition. Before, when school is about to vacate, after the exams, all of us will gather at assembly, and then they will call everyone based on your position. So they start from, not the first, they start from the last. So if it's 34 students, 34, they'll mention your name, will come and stand.
Really?
Yes, that's how it used to be.
Wow.
So they'll call to the first. So everybody will you will know who is first, who is second, who is third, who is fourth, etc., etc. So it creates an environment of competition. Everybody wants to do well. I've seen people destroy others simply because of that. In the class, someone is always first. Then there is the second and the third. They always alternate. And one day, the mother of the one who is always third promised the son that this term I will make sure you come first. Mm-hmm. So the strategy was simple. The one who is always first went out, and then he was able to hire somebody to attack the person, and then the person was rushed to the hospital, couldn't go to write the exam.
Real life story?
Yes, real life story. Real life story. Indeed. That person, his son, was first. But later on, it came out that this is what happened. But then he has already ruined someone's chances and opportunities.
Okay.
So we should also watch unhealthy competition, because sometimes... But when you said this is America, do you remember Childish Gambino's song?
This is America.
and the follow-up, look how we're living now.
Yeah, this is America. Anyway, I mean, you guys should come back. Come back to Ghana. Those in America, come back. You know,
okay.
I don't know what
Sister, relax. You don't know what people are. Some people are digging their heels.
Come back. Come and make Ghana great again. Let me get into the newspapers. There are two major stories I want to get into. I haven't seen the second one yet. The first one is right here, OSP SML's system. The second one will be what happened in Parliament. This is the News Center paper. So let me start with this OSP issue. OSP SML's system. Looks like it's another dramatic phase in this SML GRA investigation, with now physical infrastructure has been disabled. So Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited is accusing operatives from the Office of the Special Prosecutor and National Security of dismantling its state-of-the-art real-time monitoring infrastructure. An act the company says could cost Ghana millions of cedis in lost customs revenue daily. Now, I know most of us, all of us here have been following the story, so I'm just going to read the sub-headlines here quickly. So, cables torn, screen shattered, systems crippled. Revenue risk mounts as monitoring goes dark. Distraction sparks outcry. Surveillance system covered fuel depot port activities. List of documents submitted. Massive document submission made ahead of raid. Performance reports and financial records. 11 documents SML did not provide, and OSP accusations deemed vague. Authorities remain silent as operations halted, and motives questioned as public outrage grows. So the question on my mind is, who benefits from destroying these equipment? From what I understand, they have infrastructure that is monitoring real-time, fuel lifting and all that, and we've destroyed that. I know, we all know that GRA SML deal is still under investigation, and that is another reason why Ken Oforiatta is a wanted man right now. And I'm yet to understand exactly why this raid has gone on, but this is not about me. Dr. Kwame Asante, let me start from you. Do you see the sense in what's happening right now? Why they'll destroy these equipment that are actually giving us real-time monitoring? I understand that before SML's equipment, we used to use this dipstick to measure the quantity of fuel in these depots. And now they've destroyed these systems that can help us monitor in real time. I don't understand that, but over to you.
It's also surprising to me because much as I want OSP to work and work very well, I also believe that they work professionally so that things of this nature will not be part of the process. Destroying the very things that we are fighting for, we are protecting. It doesn't make sense to anybody. So I'm surprised, but I believe that they will pick the pieces and make sure that going forward, they do the right thing, because at the
I don't know if you ended your submission or if the network interrupted again, but I'm moving to Dr. Mohammed now. Dr. Mohammed, have you been following the story? What did you make of it? Dr. Jabri Mohammed, if you can hear me, please unmute. We're discussing the OSP matter. The SML OSP now, the raid yesterday at the offices, 2 offices simultaneously, Accra, Tema and Osu, and the equipment that have been destroyed. 3 of their directors have been picked up and matters are rising.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
So my point is that we all know the issues surrounding SML case, especially the way the contract was signed and everything. And now the special prosecutor is on the former finance minister regarding that. But that notwithstanding, you cannot just go there and raid and destroy the equipment. All the time, I continue to say that raiding is important, but raid with reasonable, with sense. Why do I say you should read with sense? You should read with evidence. If you have an evidence that this is what is the actual thing, you go there and pick it up. But you don't just go there and destroy equipment. You know, what they are doing, SML is carrying out a very, very important strategic, issues regarding our revenue mobilization. There is no doubt about it. If you read more about them, you realize that they are doing something great for the country. But if that notwithstanding, you may have cases with them. So resolve it amicably. You don't just go there and destroy the equipment which they use to be able to do their work and come out with something to support the country. You can audit their system. So right now you have destroyed it. How do you get evidence to be able to even catch the thief that you say you want to catch? Right? Get system auditors, let the system auditors audit, so that if they are undercasting figures or something like that to benefit, you tend to gain all the information out of it. And from there, you can take your decision on that. But now that you have gone to destroy it, how do you get the evidence, the hardcore evidence that you are looking for, to be able to prosecute the agenda that you want to do? So we have to be reasonable in some of the things that we do. It is not always about distractions that bring results. Results can be gotten by using your brain. The brain is more important. It's more powerful than physical strength.
Are you saying in this case they did not use their brain, Dr. Mohammed?
I'm saying that we did not act professionally. That's all what I'm trying to say. You don't use your brain, you are not acting professionally. Professionals don't go and destroy. Professionals go there and take evidence. Even if it is national security, you don't go there to destroy. If you slap me on my way, I will not react. I'll use the security apparatus, root you out, and allow the law to take care of you. So it's like, what do you call it? SMS have slapped you, and you went there and decided to start destroying their items. At the end of the day, what results are you going to get out of it? The results you are looking for is in the systems. Now you have destroyed the system. How are you?
Yeah, I think we all just assumed, we know the question that's coming next, but the internet, I think your network has been disrupted. So let me come to Pastor Moses now. I know that procedural violations, partial delivery, lack of value for money, overshadowed the work that SML did. Because truthfully, they did gain some measurable impact in terms of metering systems. There was some 2.4 billion Ghana cedis additional tax that we were able to generate because of them. But because of the issues, this is where we are now. What do you say to this?
What I would say is that irrespective of the gains that we have made and the benefit that we've got from them, how you conduct yourself is very important, particularly in a situation where we already have infrastructural deficit. So we don't conduct ourselves in a way that destroys the little that we have. And so I believe that they should have been a little cautious in the approach they take. Yeah.
Thank you. Benjamin, on SML's issue, I haven't heard you yet, and I'm curious. Ben, when did you develop grey hair? I'm just noticing now. Please, talk to me about SML. I'm putting you on the spot. Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
I mean, the SML issue is one that I would rather not delve into. We know what we've heard in the past, especially on the back of, it's the fourth estate that had that expose on SML. I am still in a bit of limbo in respect of what exactly their full achievements have been, whether it is commensurable with what resources they've been given from the state. In other words, value for money. Yeah. Deliverables versus what is expended. Because look, if you give someone 2,000 cedis and you are expecting work the value of 2,000 cedis and you get 1,000 cedis, there are problems there. I'm not saying they are not an entity that is doing some good work, but I think it ought to be streamlined so that we, the people, we are the ones paying through our taxpayers' money, are getting value for money. That's the bottom line for me on SML.
Okay, so let's move. I just think that now that we've destroyed these equipment, how are we going to be measuring how much fuel is lifted now? Yeah. You see, for me, I think these metering systems were the best thing to happen to us. I don't, like Benjamin said, there are issues about procedural breaches and all that, but we didn't have that. We didn't have real-time monitoring. And now you've destroyed these things.
So that's something else, right? Yeah. You remember back then there was talk about the fact that that was actually not new and that there were some other mechanisms in place. I remember the MPA, the GRA. If you remember the conversation, there was talk about, that is why I don't want to go into the full details of this. But again, I also feel if some wrongs have been done, they also ought to be pointed out. And if we are going to recoup something, it ought to be brought to bear.
All right.
I know you're going to the streets now.
Yeah, I'm going to the streets now because Benedicta Adobi-Asare is live on the ground. Remember I said we'll be bringing you some details because BECE starts today. And more than 600,000 candidates this morning heading to examination centers across the country to sit the 2025 Basic Education Certificate exam. Now, the week-long national exam marks a crucial milestone for junior high school students, determining eligibility for senior high school placement. We have a report for you, then a statement before we take you live on the ground. First, the report.
To prepare for your BEC examinations, I wish you the very best of luck. May your hard work and dedication yield excellent results. I encourage you to concentrate on your studies, prepare and stay calm, and believe in yourself. I wish you all the best as you embark on this milestone. May your efforts be rewarded with success. Good luck to all BEC candidates. I wish you the very best of luck and success.
So the that is from the Education Minister. Now, this is a statement coming from the West African Examination Council, and they're saying that the West African Examinations Council wishes to inform its numerous publics that the basic education certificates examination for school and private candidates will be conducted from today, Wednesday, June 11th, to Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. Now, a total of 603,328 candidates, comprising 297,250 males and 306,078 females from 20,395 participating schools entered for the school examination. That's a huge number, and I like particularly that the female numbers are more than the males. And it goes on to say that the number of candidates that registered for this year's BEC is 5.99% higher than the 2024 entry figure, which was 569,236. With regard to the BEC for private candidates, a total entry figure of 1,666 candidates was recorded. And this made up of 858 males and 803 males. So for the private sector, looks like the males outnumbered the females. Now, this year's figure is 19.49% higher than the 2024 entry figure of 1,390. So it goes on to say, the statement, that the BEC for school candidates will be conducted at 2,237 examination centers across the country, while 15 centers, mainly in the regional capitals, will be used for BEC for private candidates. And finally, similar to the 2024 examination, school candidates and some of the private candidates will be examined on the core curriculum, while other private candidates will be examined on the old syllabus. We wish to notify all prospective private candidates that this will be the last time private candidates will be examined on the old syllabus. This is an important information that we should take note of. So that's that from the statement. We have Adobia at Crown and Glory, but I also have a statement, more like a flyer from the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, and she's saying to all BEC candidates across the country, as you begin your examinations today, it was actually released yesterday, so he said tomorrow, I send you my warmest wishes. This is a big step, and I am proud of how far you've come. Stay calm, trust your preparation, and give it your best. Your families, teachers, and communities are behind you, and so I am. So am I. May you be guided by clarity, good health, and peace of mind. So this is coming from the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, to all BEC candidates. Now let's talk to Adobia Sari at Crown and Glory School in Bawi. Adobia, how's the atmosphere this morning?
Right, sweetie. So like you earlier mentioned, about 600,000 candidates across the country are expected to partake in the Basic Education Certificate examination this morning. The exam is starting at 9. However, they're supposed to, of course, come earlier to settle and everything. So I'm here at Crown and Glory at Gbawe. It's an examination center. It's been an examination center for about 10 to 11 years. I'm told they're expecting about 222 students to write today, with 109 students coming from Crown and Glory alone, which is the host school. So we're expecting about 7 schools here. I have Rose Fair, I have Oregon International, my alma mater, I have King Edward, and I have Crown and Glory School itself. So we're expecting the others to join shortly. So I'll speak to some of the students to gauge their mood, to find out how they're feeling. Earlier when I was engaging some of the students from Crown and Glory, they were so hopeful. There's no iota of nervousness. They are doing, they're excited. They're going up and about. I spoke to one Malaika. She happens to be the head girl of the school. Is Malaika here? Yes. Hi, Malaika. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
So tell me exactly how you're feeling this morning.
I'm feeling hopeful because I always put Isaiah 41 verse 10 in my mind because the Lord said He will help us. So I'm feeling hopeful that we'll all pass our BC this year.
Okay, so this morning they'll be taking 2 subjects. They're writing social studies and computing. Social studies is their first paper, and they write computing in the afternoon. Now, today's paper is starting at, this year's BC is starting on Wednesday because they projected that the Eid al-Fitr will go into Saturday, hence making Monday and probably Tuesday a holiday. So this is the first time something like this is happening. BC usually starts on Monday and ends on Friday, but this time it's starting on Wednesday and ending on Wednesday because of the Arabic students. Arabic students will be writing Arabic. The Islamic students will be writing Arabic on Wednesday. So who else from Crown and Glory is speaking to me? I spoke to Jonisha. Where's Jonisha? Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
How prepared are you for today's papers?
I would say very prepared.
Very prepared?
Yes, please.
Okay, but how do you think you and your colleagues are going to do well, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I'll go to students from King Edward. Oh, don't go back. Are you okay? All of you, give me some morale. How are you feeling? Say something. Yeah, oh, they're very pretty and they're handsome boys and girls. I don't even know how to speak. So all of you are nice. Okay, I just want you to feel good. Okay, this is nothing. I wrote some 10 years ago. When I saw the paper, I realized I was nervous for nothing. But you tell me, how exactly are you feeling?
Not nervous, feeling normal, 100% prepared because we learned, so we are here to deliver.
So this is a 1-1-1 for all of you?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. So that's from King Edward students. I'll come to Oregon International School, my alma mater. Oh, Oregon, don't do this to me. How are you?
I'm doing well.
What's your name?
Samuela.
Oh, beautiful. How are you feeling and how prepared are you for this paper?
Feeling very confident, and I hope that we all do well because I know we can do well.
Social studies, they won't say a cocoa pan. So are you all getting 1-1?
Yes.
And then how prepared are you for computing too? Tell me, you don't said period, like per. Okay. Hey, the lady who said the period is running away, but okay, please, let's go. What's up? Tell me, how prepared are you for computing too? Come to me. Who said shoot up? I'm Lisa.
We are very prepared about computing. In fact, our teacher is one of the best teachers in this whole region. Okay. Our teacher, he has prepared us very well. Computing is in our mind. It's our daily bread.
Oh my God! Congratulations in advance. Okay, so Rose Fair. I have Rose Fair. How are you feeling? Oh, I'm not getting your energy. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
I hope you are not nervous. Social studies there is nothing, right? So, is it 1-1 for all of you?
Yes.
What was your biggest challenge preparing for BEC?
Our biggest challenge for preparing for the BEC was... How should you say it? I don't know.
Okay, so what went into the preparation? What went into how did you prepare for all of this? I mean, this is your first,
The learning, and even when we are learning, no break, every day we are learning. So, Auntie, it was, somehow good.
I'll throw that same questions to students. So we have a new set of students here. They are from, what's your school? Care Guide, please get close to me. Care Guide, I need one of you to tell me what went into the preparations for BEC. What are some of the things you did? What measures have you put in place that is making you believe that you really blow this paper?
Well, we've really prepared, and we are praying to God that we will pass. And we have, whatever our teachers have taught us, we have kept it. We have also taken advice from our parents, and we know we are going to pass this BEC.
You're speaking like you're nervous, or that's just how you are?
I am nervous.
Okay, but I need you to tell me. You tell me the preparations that went into this.
A lot of peer teaching and prayer. Just a lot of it, yeah. Generally, that's it.
Okay, so that's a spiritus guy right there. He said he did a lot of preparation and a lot of prayer, which is very, very important. I need the Crown and Glory students to tell me, my dear, you tell me which preparations went. What are some of the things you've done specially to make you so hopeful that you are winning this?
I am very optimistic that we are going to pass this examination because I believe without a shadow of doubt that we have the best of teachers. They teach from both their heads and from their heart, and they teach us to our understanding. So, and they pray with us. They pray very well with us, and they encourage and give us motivation.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I would like to speak to some of the teachers. I spoke to Mr. Alote earlier. He's a teacher from Crown and Glory. Mr. Alote, please join. So he took them through a lot of, he's one of your teachers, right? He took them through a lot of preparations prior to the BEC. So, sir, I want to talk to you about examination malpractice. You know, over the years, we've been recording cases of examination malpractice. What do you have to say about it? And do you see any of your students indulging in that?
That is quite a difficult question to answer. As to whether I envisage some of our students engaging in that, the future is yet to be experienced. However, considering the fact that we have taken them through a lot, there has been a lot of preparations. I do not think that any of them is harboring the feeling of engaging in any form of examination malpractice. So I can confidently say that they are so prepared that they are not ready to engage in any form of examination malpractice.
Have you recorded any examination malpractice in this center before?
I think about 2 years ago, we had the hint of a school doing that, but I think it was quickly resolved and everything went back to its normal situation. Beyond that, I cannot recollect ever recording any form of malpractice in this center.
Okay, all right. So you're confident your students are blowing these papers?
I'm more than confident that
amazing.
They are well prepared, they are adequately prepared, and I can confidently see that they are going to score. If there are more than 10 subjects, they can even score more than 10 ones. Yeah. Yes, that's what I can see.
That's amazing. So that was Mr. Alote there. He is one of the teachers of Crown and Glory. There are still other teachers around who are here for their students. They are a bit far from me, so it's a bit far-fetched. But I'll speak to one more person. He's the external and internal coordinator. Mr. Bright, please join me here. Of the... Oh, okay. You have a lot of fans, so anyway, please, what are some of the preparations you teachers and invigilators have done towards this exam?
Okay, before any examination, what we do is that we take the children or the students through examination preparation, that is writing of mocks. Then we mark, we look at where they did not do well, then we correct them, then we write the next mock. So for our school, for instance, we wrote 9 mocks, and these help them to prepare adequately. And when children or students are adequately prepared, it takes away fear and examination anxiety. So you can look in their various faces, in their faces, that they don't have any anxiety. The anxiousness is gone, so they are hopeful, they are ready, and they came here yesterday to look at their sitting places. So everybody is ready for today's examination.
Okay, indeed, speaking to these children, I can tell that they are ready, they are brimming with a lot of hope, and only a few of them are nervous. So, Sweetie and Ben, that's exactly how the mood is here at Crown and Glory in Bawe. Over to you in the studio. We are wishing them all the best, of course.
Adobe Asari right there. Thank you so much for bringing us those lively commentary and preparations. I like that the teacher said it was a mock, 9 mocks they've marked and all that. Some of them said they fasted and prayed. Benjamin, when did you write BC?
Why are you trying to?
I want to guess your age. But yeah, so that's what's happening.
It was in the 1990s.
1990s. Pastor Moses, what about you? I mean, this is what the students are saying, but 1990s,
yeah.
Jesus Christ. Looks like I'm the youngest one here. Dr. Kwame Asante, we've heard from students and teachers preparing for the BEC. As someone in academia yourself, what are your thoughts? Does this bring back any lovely memories for you?
I think Kwame Asante is out. I'm the only one there now.
Go ahead, Dr. Mohammed.
I think it brings back a lovely memory to me when I took it some years back. The anxiousness and the anxiety was there in trying to take up that particular all-important assignment, because that led me to my senior high school and eventually to Legon to pursue all my programs. And I think that it is really a very exciting moment for the children as I listen to them. But that notwithstanding, I just have one or two issues to pass on the examination. Now, it's about the way and manner in which we allow these little ones to write so many subjects. I think that we have to really look at that and maybe just allow them to write 5 subjects, and that could be okay. Maybe the 4 course plus design and technology, something related to what do you call it, BT or something like that, so that at least that can help them to be able to prepare and write very well. If we inundate them with so many programs or so many subjects, it's going to be very difficult for them. I remember my time we were writing about 10 subjects, which is a lot just to take in for these little ones. So let's be measurable with some of the things that we do.
Right.
And if you look at education, people look at it from 2 different perspectives in Germany. They have people who go to the technical area and they have people who go to the regular area. So let's look at that. If people are carved out for the technical area, let's train them for that. If they are carved out for the other program, let's also take them for that.
All right.
And my last
so, Dr. Mohammed, we've exhausted our time. Thank you so much. Yes, do that in 30 seconds.
Yeah, the nurses issue, I did not say that they cannot take book and research allowance. If they are actually with the nursing training schools training the people, and they are not given book and research allowance, they must be given, because that is very important to them. They cannot teach without research. For that, I will vote for them on that.
Okay.
But if it is for all nurses who are not in the classroom, then they are not obliged to take book and research allowance. But those in the classroom, they are obliged to take book and research. If they are not doing that, the government should do that for them. It's really very important.
Point made. Thank you so much, Dr. Jabri Mohammed. And I'll take final comments from you, Pastor Moses.
Yes, what I would say is that, still on education, I would just say that sometimes how we describe education, or examination, we describe it as World War II, World War I, etc. So you are made or you're programmed to see it as a war, a battle, a fight. But that is not what it really is. Education is meant to bring out what is in a child. That's what it means. The word for education, the Latin word for education, actually means bringing out something from another thing. So education is meant to bring out the potentials of an individual. Somebody may be very good in practicals. Somebody may also be very good in theories.
Okay.
So how do we design our academic curriculum in a way that brings out what the potential of individuals, rather than just one-time writing of exams?
Thank you so much. But another reason why they take the World Cup is because at that level, when you fail, that's it for you. Unlike why, recently I've heard that they want to introduce some sort of NOVDEC for BEC as well. So then it gives them an option, but that's it. We have some interesting comments for you as well. Benjamin, over to you. You're smiling.
A little bird whispered to us that tomorrow's your birthday. Is that the case? Oh, wow. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And let me just say that I've enjoyed having you on the platform.
Oh, that's beautiful.
On this review today.
You've
shared some very interesting thoughts. Maybe those of us from the 90s.
Oh, look at you.
Let me also do this courtesy of Sami or Dame. Happy birthday to Solomon Atim Aswala, a former Chief Director of the Ministry of Works and Housing. We wish you more years of fulfillment and fruitfulness in Jesus' name. A joyous day to you, sir. It's coming from Sami or Dame, from yours truly and the entirety of the Multimedia Group. We celebrate you. Who joined us for the news review this morning?
Those who joined us for the news review this morning, Dr. Kwame Asante, Head Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana and the political scientist. We also had Dr. Jabri Mohammed. He's a senior lecturer at University of Ghana Business School. And of course, we had Pastor Moses joining us right here in the studio. And Pastor Moses, thank you so much for joining us. So stick and stay. Coming up next, we're serving you our big stories right after this break. Welcome back to the AM show, which is sponsored by Waylead Properties. Now, well, like we mentioned earlier, today is the International Day of Play. And around the world, government, educators, and the international community are being urged to invest in play as a key driver of children's learning and well-being. We told you that we engaged some executives, and they're right here in the studio with me, so let's get right into it. I have with me in the studio this morning a beautiful woman who shares my name, Christine McConnell. She is Chief of Education at UNICEF Ghana. Hello, Christine. Welcome to the AM show. And we also have Robert Kwanzaa. He's Senior ECE Technical Manager at Sabri Education. Mr. Kwanzaa, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
And we have Evans Sinkari. He's Interim Country Director, Right to Play Ghana. Welcome to the program. Okay, I want to give each one of you 1 minute each to talk to us or introduce us to your individual organizations before we get into International Day of Play proper. And I'll start with you, Mr. Sinkari.
Yes. Thank you very much. I think today is a special day. In the first place, I want to wish you happy International Day of Play. Yeah. I want to wish your viewers, my colleagues here, Right to Play, our staff, our global team, as well as the children that we exist to serve. Yeah. Right to Play is a global organization that works to protect, educate, and empower children across the globe. Our organization has been in Ghana for the past 25 years, and I take the opportunity to announce that Right to Play excited to share with you that this year we're going to celebrate 25 years of working in Ghana. Okay. And I believe that this forum we have today is not the end. We'll come back, we'll work together to make sure that we celebrate this day together, but we also go ahead to celebrate the Right to Play 25 years of existence in Ghana. Please invite me for your silver anniversary. We will. We have programs across Ghana, about 7 regions in this country. Right. And working in the area of education, the area of health, and the area of child protection. Beautiful. Thank you very much. I'll come back to you. So, Mr. Kwanzaa. Yes. Tell me about Sabri Education. What do you do? Seba. So, Seba Education. My bad. That's fine. Seba Education is an early childhood education specialist organization that has been working with the governments of Ghana over 20 years now to improve the quality of early childhood education in Ghana. And we do this around 3 main program areas. One of them is working with the Ghana Education Service to implement transformational teacher training programs seeking to change the way teaching and learning is done. 2 is helping to improve learning environments. And then the 3rd area is working with government to be able to influence policies and practices for early childhood education in Ghana. So that's what we do. We celebrated our 20th anniversary last year. So hopefully we'll join you for 25 years this year. Of course. So that's what we do. Yeah. Beautiful. So that's that for Saber Education. Now, I know we all know what UNICEF is about, but Christine, introduce us to UNICEF once again.
Sure. Thank you. Good morning. So UNICEF is a global organization, right? We're part of the United Nations, and we're the United Nations Children's Development Fund, right? So we work exclusively on children's well-being, and that stems across all different areas and aspects of children's well-being, right? So we have colleagues that are working on children's health and nutrition, making sure children are out of poverty and families can support their children, making sure children are protected and their rights are ensured, making sure children have access to clean water and sanitation. And as Chief of Education, the title I think speaks for itself, but my team, we work specifically on children's education and skills. So a lot of our services are working directly with the Ministry of Education and help ensuring that education programming and policies are strong so that Ghana's children can really deliver and be the best individuals that they can be. Okay, so now let's get into the conversation proper. And I want to start with you, Evans. I know you started by talking about how important it is, play and all that, but today is International Day of Play. So tell us,
why is it? I grew up watching plays. My father was a producer director at GBC.
Right.
So yeah, plays was a big part of me. Even in senior high school, I used to play a man because it was an all-girls school. And truly, play changes everything.
Yeah.
So tell us, what is so important about International Day of Play?
Thank you very much. I think you've just mentioned play changes everything. Last year, the UN General Assembly declared 11th of June every year, now and forever, as International Day of Play.
Great.
And this is very important to us as Right to Play, international NGO that came up basically to protect the rights of children, to work through to protect, to educate children and ensure that we have empowered citizens going forward. And so for us, it's very important to be part of this process, and we've been part of the engagement, the campaign, and the conversation to get the day declared. So June 11th of every year is International Day of Play. And when I was reflecting, I said, all the days, you call them 360, 70 days of working and all that, the funeral, everything must be a day for play. Not just for children, but for all of us. But in our case, as international NGO that works for children's welfare and children's well-being, for us, we are celebrating in the context of children and working with children and working for them as well. So this day is set aside by the UN to raise awareness globally, across the world, about the value of play, the power of play, and what play can do in the lives of individuals, society, communities, and whatever you can call it. These days also set aside to ensure that we mobilize stakeholders, and for that matter, their resources and investment to promote people's rights to play. And again, I'll zoom into our level, the right of children to play. And so that is why we feel that it's very important. When we were reflecting as an organization, Right to Play, we thought that this is also part of the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. And when I zoomed down, I said that it is aligned with around the Article 31, which says that every child has a right to leisure, the right to happiness, and to play. So the right of every child. And what we are doing is actually to support this convention and also to support the declaration by the United Nations General Assembly.
Okay.
I've already mentioned Right to Play is a founding member of this campaign.
Yes.
But this is actually also aligning with our programming, aligning with our strategic plan globally and locally. And we are so excited, happy to be part of this conversation for the fact that we've led this for the past 2 years, and we hope to continue to lead the conversation in Ghana around the International Day of Play.
Thank you so much, Evans. So, Christine, I'm back to you now. So, Evans has mentioned the importance of this day, the goal for which this day was set aside. But this is coming from your organization proper, the UN. And what was the intention behind it? I mean, we know the goal, the objectives, but talk to us about the intentions, the partnering, and the campaign behind actually arriving on this decision to make this day, set it aside for International Day of Play.
Great, thank you. Like anything, it takes a village. And I think creating this International Day of Play is exactly that, but it took a global village to really come behind this campaign. So my understanding is that, when this was passed as a UN General Assembly resolution in March 2024, right, 140 countries were signatory to it. So a lot of campaigning and behind the scenes work had to be done.
It did take a village.
Exactly, to kind of have these countries with their initial support saying, we want this adopted as a resolution and we are already in support of it. Now, a number of organizations were kind of key stakeholders behind that global village. I think Right to Play being a key one of them, but you also have organizations like the Lego Foundation, BRAC, Plan International, IRC, ADEA, and I'm probably going to forget some of the other names, but we're kind of key parts of this global coalition to kind of push for this day. And now that it's here, it gives us an opportunity, even like sitting in your studio this morning, just the fact that it is now an International Day of Play, it gives us this global platform for advocacy to really talk about the importance of play, to spread awareness about why children need to play, and why we need to protect children's ability to play and how important it is for their, growth.
Let me dwell on that point for a bit. Tell me exactly how children develop through play. How exactly does that happen?
Great. I say this easily as a mother. You know, I see this with my own children developing in everyday life. But play helps establish some of these basic skills that children need in their everyday life to thrive and survive. So take, for example, some of your basic skills. Maybe I'm being too technical, but I think of something called fine motor skills. So this is the very small muscles that you use. So it might be holding a pencil or learning how to bead. Or these, through play is really where the children get an opportunity to exercise these very small skills that are critical for everyday use. Similar, think of your gross motor skills, your big muscles. This is your arms, your legs. This is where you develop from running and jumping and sprinting and hopping and all of those big development. But it's also a chance for developing social, emotional skills, right? And regulation. And so if you think also about play, you think of creativity and imagination and innovation. And this is really an opportunity where children get to tap into that. But then also think of the social side of it, right? When I think of my own children playing, right, especially in a group of children, it's often not quiet play, right? And you're hearing a lot of engagement. So what you're hearing is things like sharing, negotiation.
That one.
Right? Yeah. Self-advocacy or advocacy for your younger sibling or peer, all of these social skills. And so with UNICEF, when we talk to employers, right, we recently did a study in the Shanti region, for example, and we asked employers, what kind of skills do you look for in the workplace? The type of skills that they mentioned exactly tie into play, right? So these were skills like leadership, teamwork, flexibility, problem solving, creativity. All of those type of skills that we need as adults to thrive in our everyday life are ones that are clearly developed when we start playing as children.
Thank you, Christine. So let me come to Robert now. You work with children because safer education. Feel free to share some success stories with us in terms of how you have actually seen or the evidence that play actually helps to train or improve the outcomes for children. But also I want you to hammer on what's the code? How or what needs to happen globally for us to actually strengthen these calls that children need to be allowed to play? Exactly what needs to happen to start to change the status quo? Yeah.
I think in terms of the evidence, there's a lot of evidence globally that supports play and play-based learning. And even just going back to some of the things that Christine has just spoken about, it's not just based on her personal experiences as a mother, but actually there is so much research work that has been done. So, for instance, if you look at evidence from neuroscience, it shows how play supports effective development of the brain, because one of the things the brain needs is that there are all of these neurons in the brain that needs to be connected. And it is through play that offers very useful opportunities for these connections to happen. And the more the connections happen and the stronger they become, then the higher the thinking capacity of the individual. So play supports all of these. But also there's, for instance, studies that have been done in Ghana that shows how play-based learning, for instance, helps to achieve learning outcomes. One example I can talk about is the Quality Preschool for Ghana study that was done between 2015 and 2017, which showed very significant results for children's improvement around literacy, numeracy, and then psychosocial skills. And what was good was that even when the learners were followed a few years later, the gains that were made when they were in kindergarten were sustained over a number of periods. We in our own program have done some work also in the Eastern region where we train teachers across 6 districts to be able to use play-based learning in their classrooms. And one of the things that an external evaluator found at the end of the program was that basically they compared learners who had received play-based teaching to learners who hadn't received such. And they found, for instance, that across numeracy and literacy skills, the learners in intervention schools were achieving anything above 74% in terms of meeting the required literacy and numeracy outcomes, compared to their peers who were doing between 23 to 26 or so percent around the same school. So that's about a 50% gap between learners who are being taught through play and those who aren't. If we come back to the question about what needs to be done to ensure to strengthen learning and ensure there's more awareness around it, I think generally we need to create more awareness around the whole society about the value of play, but also the value of early childhood education. And hopefully your studio this morning offers us a platform to begin to have some of those conversations, because historically play has been seen as something that belongs to the home. And then when we come to school, it's serious business. Learning must happen.
Yeah.
Even in school, play happens during break time. And so how do we shift the conversation from that to beginning to view play actually as a useful educational tool that brings about learning, even in the classroom, to the extent where when parents see their children being engaged a lot in play at school, they understand that that's the way that the children are learning. I think it also means that to achieve this, we are going to have to do a lot of training of our teachers. We have currently at the kindergarten level, for instance, a curriculum that promotes play-based learning. Unfortunately, our teachers haven't been trained enough to be able to really translate that curriculum into practice. So how do we ensure that we promote the training of teachers in play-based pedagogy? How do we ensure that we also provide the right infrastructure that supports play-based learning? Because children naturally need big spaces to be able to move and run around. And so very small classrooms with a lot of children becomes a problem. If we don't have the right furniture in place, for instance, in the classroom, then it becomes a problem. So these are some of the things that need to happen.
I want to dwell on that point and come back to Evans. I mean, talking about infrastructure, it means that we can't just celebrate this in vacuum. It has to be policy documents that back these calls. So what are these recommendations for policy formulation and implementation in the case of Ghana?
Yes, for Ghana, I think, as you said, there are many organizations that have done a lot around play-based learning. SEBA, UNICEF, Right to Play, and many other organizations. And then just that we are saying it, we have evidence to prove that when you use play-based learning, there is that substantial increase in the outcomes in terms of literacy and numeracy. One of our projects, great project that we have done, and based on the evaluations, about 44% to 81% of that change. The children who initially were learning without play-based learning were around 44% in terms of numeracy and literacy. When we introduced that, it has gone up to as far as to 81%. I think this is evidence, and I think SEBA can share as well. Based on this and many others, I'm just giving to that background, and many other evaluations, so that it's not like I am saying it or somebody from Right to Play is blowing their own horn. We have evidence to show. And on the basis of this, we are saying that government should invest, leaning on what he said and what you are trying to put us through. Infrastructure is very, very important.
Has there been these sort of engagement?
It is, and the point I'm raising, it is because not just setting up a classroom, a KG room, without a necessary play environment, play equipment, play space across. There are many NGOs who have done that, and we have shown the way. So one of the policy recommendations is that government infrastructure program should prioritize early childhood education. And for that matter, not just bringing the building into place, but accompanying resources, materials, learning aids, and many other things, and a space for children to engage. In our program, one of the challenges has been teachers complain about large classrooms. Large numbers in the classrooms. Not the space is limited, but the children are many. So 100 children in the schools, in Saviligu, in the Volta region, in Accra, even Accra, Wager here. You have about 100 children in one class. We want to do an activity. So a coping strategy has been come out of the classroom, have the activity, and you get back. That just is a lot of inconvenience. As against where you have a space that we can all separate and sit just like we are sitting.
I'm curious though, looks like all examples are kindergarten, nursery, basic school.
Yes.
Where's the cutoff point? Does it get to
Yes, that is the early level.
So it's just for
That is the early level we are pushing.
Okay.
Because in recent times, we agree, the emphasis has been on senior high school.
Right.
And the top. But if the foundation is not right, you can't get it to the ultimate.
Okay.
So that is why these NGOs, together with Right to Play, we are pushing to make sure that we have the foundation right. The other policy engagement is that we should make sure that play-based is well integrated in Ghana education programming and policies. If it is not in, you cannot ask for it to be done. So for us, we think that as we develop new programs and even new curricula around, let's make sure that play-based learning is entrenched.
Okay.
We should work towards training officials.
Right.
Just like we're coming. People are saying, oh, this is a new day. We don't know about it. Good. The important thing is that we need to have that awareness. Teachers should have the competencies around play-based learning. And Right to Play offers those training across the country.
Okay.
We should work towards getting officials who do the supervision, the CISOs and the rest, to also be able to understand, because if we don't know it, you cannot supervise.
All right.
So we have a lot of policy recommendations. If you give me a chance, I'll give you.
Yes, I realize that. And I want to come back to Christine. Often when we talk about new policies on programs and projects, we look at people who fall under the normal category, but we have marginalized people, people with disabilities, and even girls sometimes. How do we ensure that these programs and projects and processes include girls, persons with disabilities, and those who are marginalized in our societies?
Excellent question. I don't think we spend enough time thinking about this, and I appreciate that the International Day of Play is an opportunity to raise awareness about that. And that's actually my very first point, is overall awareness. I think step one of that would be an opportunity for teachers and parents to be aware and reflective. So try to think, are there practices I'm doing in the classroom as a teacher that may not include every single learner in the way that they learn best, right? We all have different ways that we learn. I myself, I know I'm a visual learner,
okay,
right? But maybe you are an auditory learner. Maybe you learn best by moving around kinesthetically, right? We all have different ways in which we learn best. So maybe as teachers, we are stuck in maybe one certain way of teaching, and that we need the kind of that first step of awareness of thinking, is my teaching actually accessible to all children in our class? And what are maybe ways where I need to be more inclusive?
The second thing that the differential learning approach should be applied to play. So differential learning, differential play.
And create opportunities for that play, I think allows the differentiated learning to happen. So then part two of that is adaptation, right? Once you're aware of what your limitations might be, it's being able to adapt those practices to say, I used to do this exercise this particular way as a teacher, but now to be more inclusive, I'm going to do it this way. Or I used to have play being a football match, but I realized only the boys were going out for the football match, and that's not necessarily the activity that's including all the girls. What I love about Ghanaian society and children in general is how inventive children are, particularly with low resources. So I almost think this is an opportunity for the adaptation to leave the power back with the children, right? Ask the children, what's a way for us to do this activity where all children can be involved? Is there a way we could do this differently? Kind of let the creativity go back to the children to be more inclusive.
I wish we could spend more time on this conversation, but I am pressed for time. But I want to throw the last question to you, Robert. How are we celebrating this in Ghana? Is there anything special that we're doing? You want to? Okay, please, quickly. Let's make it a rapid response.
To speak to that.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yes, so briefly, I think we mentioned to you that last year was the first of its kind. Right to Play led national level engagement in Accra. We had it in the Volta region. We had it in the Northern region. Going forward this year, we have worked harder to make sure that we keep this momentum and Right to Play continue to lead. One is this session that we have to have this national discourse around play-based learning, involving our colleagues, UNICEF, SEBA, and others who are not here present, but they are with us in the spirit. They've contributed to make sure. We also have children here who will demonstrate. I think that's why you are looking for time.
The
children will also come and get to see the practicality, particularly in the classroom. People feel that how can you have play in the classroom? Learning is all about being serious. And no, there's another way. And Right to Play has that other way. And together with our friends, we will share that briefly. But I think across the regions, apart from here, we have this program rollout. In the Ashanti region, at university today, we are having a big deba of chiefs and people, students, learners across that district, about 3 districts, a dancing enclave, coming together, about 300 to 400 people coming together to have an important deba to discuss around this day, to celebrate the day together. Our team is around Gilo Leba, Gilo Zagao. They are very excited. I'm sure some of your team members will be there to ask them to take this day. Please, briefly, let me end. And then we have the northern, this place, Upper East, and at Sandema Senior High, we have an activity today that we are bringing people together, students, and there'll be a number of games, activities across.
So we are playing
Volta region, across Ghana, right?
So those who join,
we have a lot. We have a lot.
If
you give me a chance.
To mark, I'm sorry. To mark International Day of Play, we have Robert Kwanzaa. He's Senior ECE Technical Manager for Sabre Education. We also have Evan Sinkari, who wants to keep going, but he's Interim Country Director, Right to Play Ghana, and they're leading this. And of course, we have Christine McConnell. She's Chief of Education at UNICEF Ghana. Thank you all so much for coming to the studio today. Okay, so when we return from this break, some children are here to demonstrate exactly what we are talking about, to show you how they use play to learn. We'll be right back. Show, we told you that we're going to demonstrate how play helps or improves the neuromotor skills of students. Children here in the studio with me, I'm sure you see them in a bit, are about to demonstrate to you exactly what we've been talking about in theory. So in a bit, Maria, who is a pupil teacher, will be taking over to show you exactly how it is done. If you're ready, Maria and the student, please take over.
Pampana! Pampana! Today is International Day of Play. Yay! And because of that, we are also going to play. Yay! Mango, mango. Mango. Mango, mango. Mango. Afutu, afutu. Yamfa, yamfa. Mango, mango. Mango. Mango 5. 5. For your partner. Mango 5. Good. Wow. Now that we are in our groups, let's form a queue. Be fast. You form your queue. Good. Where is your partner? Great. Make sure you are facing a partner. Good. Now, we are going to play a game. The name of the game is Building a Word. The name of the game is what? Building a word. I can't hear you. Building a word. That's great. Now, this is the rule for the game. I have a box containing some letter cards. I'm going to place it in front of you. You take it and pass it on to your friend. Remember this. The faster you pick and pass on, the more words you are going to form in your group. Therefore, I'm going to put it down. You start. Fast. Fast. The more you do it, the more you get more words. Be fast. Yeah. Good. 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 It's like some are not being active. Some are not being fast. I can see some more doing something here. That's great. That's great. That's great. Be fast. Good. I'll be fast. Good. 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 Wow. Wonderful. So now we have our various words. Let's move to our groups and then form the words. Go! Which words are you forming? Good. Good. So we need to look at the words. Well, he has put in it there. Oh. Don't fight. Don't fight. Yes, it's a group work, so you can do it well. Good. Good. King. Good. Good. Okay. You are doing well. Good. You're trying. Good. Good. Remember, we are using the time. Pampana! Pampana! Circle, circle. Circle, circle. Circle, circle. Now, you have done very well. How did you come out forming these words? Okay, Phil.
My friend took a sound, and I also took one sound, and we added it, and we got a word.
That's great. Flowers for him?
Flowers.
How did you also come out with it? Okay, Eugenia.
We are fast and smart.
Oh, wow. Then your group are really doing well. You are fast and smart.
I didn't try to do all by myself. I picked one word, and my friend also bought one word, and we added it, and we got a word.
Wonderful. So it is good to work together. When you work together, you achieve great things. So in your various classrooms, when you are given work, try to collaborate. Try to ask a friend. You bring your ideas together and you are on point. Pampana. Now, what are the words you formed in your group? Richard.
Kin.
Kin. Good. Jaden.
Again.
Again. Mirabel.
Tie.
We can't hear.
Tie.
5. Good.
Ring.
Ring. Adepa.
Pie.
Pie.
Map.
Map. Ha. Last person.
Rocks.
Rocks. That's amazing. Flowers for you. Now we have come to the end of our lesson. Because today is International Day of Play, we are going to play. So we are going to swim in the pool. In the pool. Out the pool. In and out the pool. Out and in the pool. So you are out. Around the pool. Oh, around the pool. Oh, around the pool. In the pool. Out the pool. In and out the pool. In and out the pool. Out and in the pool. Out and in the pool. In the pool. In the pool.
Children out play. I don't know about you, but I saw coordination. I saw speed. I saw physical activity.
Around the pool.
And I see excitement happening right here. I'll be right back.
In and out the pool. In and out the pool. Out and in the pool. Out and in the pool. Out and in the pool.
All this to encourage play. All this to make sure that children are getting enough time to play, to develop their skills, to develop their coordination and everything in between to help them become better adults. We'll take a break, and wherever you are in the world watching us, remember that today is the first celebration of International Day of Play. Next year, hopefully, we'll do it on a wider level. I'll be right back after this break. I'm still trying to catch my breath, but let's get into another conversation now. Welcome back to the AM show. So let's talk about the automotive industry. There are some special things happening that I want to bring your attention to. In the studio with me to get this going, we have Andrew Lamte. He's head of sales at Toyota Ghana. And we also have Dennis Gawuga. He's communication manager for CFO Mobility Ghana PLC. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Most of the time when I hear Toyota and CFO, I think that I remember that you have lesser, I don't want to use the word cheaper, but you have more affordable vehicles for Ghanaians. And we want to understand exactly how that has come to be and what you do here in the country. So I'll start with you, Dennis. You are from CFO. Tell us exactly what you do at CFO. Introduce us to CFO first.
Okay. Thank you very much. So CFO is your one-stop mobility solutions provider. We have various brands of vehicles that we sell at CFO. So we have SUVs, we have the small vehicles, we have the luxury range, so Mercedes, Mitsubishi, and Suzuki. We're particularly here to speak more to Suzuki because we assemble the Suzuki here in Ghana. You mentioned about affordability.
Yeah.
So the whole policy of assembling vehicles in Ghana also is to make vehicles affordable for Ghanaians. So if you say that, then you're right. That is the reason why the vehicles would be affordable. But amongst several other reasons, we're here because we want to promote made in Ghana or assembled in Ghana vehicles, and then promotes the fact that if you purchase vehicles assembled in Ghana, you're basically helping the industry grow as well as a whole. Yes.
Interesting. So you assemble Suzuki vehicles in the country?
Yes.
I'll come back to you for more details on that.
Sure.
Let me engage Andrew now. Andrew, you are from Toyota Ghana. Yes. I understand that is the same. You also assemble the Hilux.
Yes.
Tell us about that. But first, feel free to introduce us to Toyota Ghana. Although Ghanaians know, because I know your tagline is Ghana drives Toyota.
Exactly.
So talk to us about it.
Thank you very much for mentioning that. And it's a fact, when you go out there on the streets, about 5 out of 10 vehicles you see on the road definitely are Toyota. So we believe Ghana drives Toyota. And when you talk about affordability, well, yes, but we go for more reliability, durability, and then we want every Ghanaian to have a vehicle that they drive and have very little problems. So we believe that if you choose Toyota, yes, you are choosing affordability, but you're also choosing reliability, quality as well. Now, like you mentioned, Toyota Ghana sells Toyota vehicles and service them. We have a very wide network to meet customers' needs wherever you find yourself in the country. So we have vehicles ranging from the saloon vehicles, pickup trucks, SUVs, and buses. So Toyota Ghana is a go-to place. Now, specifically about the Hilux, Hilux, which is the pickup in the pickup range, when you talk about vehicles in Ghana, about 50% of vehicles that are driven on in country are pickups because they are workhorses. So that's how come Toyota decided to start the assembly process with the pickups to be able to meet that particular market.
All right. Now, both of you say you assemble vehicles here in Ghana. Are you the actual companies that assemble? I want clarity on that because I know TTMG is in the mix somewhere.
Exactly.
Dennis, briefly touch on that for me.
Right. So we both assemble at TTMG, that's Toyota Tusho Manufacturing Ghana Limited, a subsidiary of Toyota Tusho Corporation in Japan. So they are the holding company for both companies, actually. So we belong to the same mother company.
Right.
So the establishment in Ghana, TTMG, is what does the assembly for both of us to retail on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that clarifies.
That's that. And it's a beautiful clarification. But exactly what motivated you to start assembling vehicles right here in Ghana? Let me still stay on you, Dennis. I'll come back to you, Andrew.
Okay. As a matter of policy, we want to grow the industry, also up to or upscale the industry to the point where Ghana becomes the hub for manufacturing for the sub-region as a whole. In Ghana, I mean, we know the amount of vehicles we import, over 90,000 vehicles a year, if I'm right. Quite a huge number of vehicles that come in every year. And why don't we basically get into assembly and reorganize the industry and basically get value for the industry, basically. Yeah. So for example, the Suzuki range, right? It's a very fast-growing model that is reaching people in Ghana, and why not? Definitely, why not? Yeah.
Sounds like you're thinking about us Ghanaians and you're trying to bring us a solution. Andrew, is that the same for you? And also, I mean, feel free to talk to us about your motivations for assembling vehicles in Ghana, but I want to know how challenging it is.
All right. So when the government brought up the automotive policy, but vehicles were assembled in Ghana some years ago. For some reason, it stopped. But then government again brought up the idea of why don't we assemble vehicles and, like I mentioned, support the economy of Ghana. We can continue to bring in completely built units, but the assembling adds value and then also brings more jobs to the country. So when the policy came up and we discussed with our manufacturer, in this case TMC, there were other competing countries within the sub-region that were also aiming to do assemble. But TTC chose Ghana because they felt it was a very conducive environment for them to actually start. So there are very few assembling plants in Africa, and Ghana happens to be one of them. Now,
you mentioned that we used to assemble vehicles in Ghana, but for some reason it stopped. I mean, before the reintroduction again.
Exactly.
What do you think happened there?
Well,
And is that the same challenges you're facing now?
Well, that was in the 70s thereabouts. But, I mean, maybe due to political reasons, economic reasons, I don't want to go into that. But, of course, now we believe the environment is more conducive for assembling of vehicles. And we believe we have the manpower, believe we have all the resources, and the ground is really well set to be able to do this assembly. So it is quite an exciting time. I remember when TTC came in, and TTC means Total Tissue came in and set up the TTMJ plant. It was quite instructive to know that they went to the universities and picked young graduates who were trained, and for the past 4 or 5 years, they have been assembling these vehicles.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's a way to contribute to the economy of the nation.
Okay. And Dennis, how has it been, the reception of Ghanaians towards vehicles that have been assembled right here in Ghana, like the Suzuki you're talking about? How's the reception? And then does the future hold for you?
Okay. So the future is exciting for Suzuki. Suzuki is a very well-respected brand globally and has competed very favorably in very competitive markets like India and the likes. And to date, cumulatively from 2018 to 2024, Suzuki has sold over 9 million units globally, with over 3 million in Africa. So it's a fast-growing adoption of the Suzuki brand. And particularly in Ghana, it's quite evident. You see Suzukis running everywhere. And because they are very affordable, because they are very fuel efficient and built for Ghana. And so the brand understands the conditions within the country and within the region. And so the adoption is pretty fast. There are a few hiccups here and there, probably with financing, probably with competing grey market imports, competing salvage imports that come in. I know there's a back and forth battle between salvage vehicles and completely assembled or brand new vehicles here. But for someone who is driving a brand new vehicle, you definitely know the pluses it has for you, your safety, the environmental impact, and then the cost of ownership. It's not a one-time thing, but you look at the entire period of owning the vehicle and the cost it brings to you. So we're hoping that policymakers and support would come in such a way that more Ghanaians are able to adopt brand new vehicles from us.
I can't wait to drive a brand new vehicle so I can compare myself.
Please talk to us.
I should talk to you? Okay. I know that you have the Ghana Automotive Summit and Awards Night coming up shortly, and the title is Automotive Industry's Biggest Event. How did that come to be, and why do you think it's the biggest event? Talk to me about that. Andrew, you start.
All right. So with the influx of assemblers in Ghana, the AAAG, Association of Automotive Assemblers Ghana, was birthed. So this is the second summit. Actually, last year was the first where we brought industry players into one table, and we brought in experts as well, and of course the government who are major players. Now, the idea is to let Ghanaians know that these are vehicles or products that are actually assembled here in Ghana. They are competing with completely built units that are imported. And like we said, we've been doing this for the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And the market has accepted these vehicles very well because they know that they are the same quality as the ones that are being imported. So we want to have that environment to be able to showcase. So there will be an exhibition of these vehicles that have been assembled. You can talk to the major players and probably let them know, or we'll tell the general public what goes into the process of assembly. And then we'll be doing some advocacy. Of course, there are some challenges why people are not going for brand new vehicles. We want to discuss that and get to know what the challenges are and probably see what we can do to bring everybody on board. So it's basically an activity to bring all the major players under one roof to have this discussion and move the way forward.
Andrew, is this the first time you're doing this? And if not, what is the intention behind it? I mean, at the end of the day, because it's a day-long activity, at the end of the day, what do you hope to achieve?
Okay, so...
No, sorry, I mean Dennis.
Okay. So like my colleague just said, not many Ghanaians are aware of the fact that there are a certain number of vehicles that are assembled in Ghana and by Ghanaians for Ghana. And so this is the opportunity for us to let people know that these vehicles are assembled over here. We have about 7 or 8 assembly plants built to employ Ghanaians, retool Ghanaians, equip Ghanaians with the skills within the automotive sector. And we hope that in the future, I mean, as he said, advocacy, we're looking at widening the entire value chain such that we can integrate people from Kokompe, we can integrate people from the technical universities into this very fast-growing industry. I mean, the car imports, I don't have the data, but the car imports also constitute a huge number, a huge amount in imports on our economy. And so the impact is also very, very great. So if we're able
There's also the environmental, but I mean...
Definitely, there's also the environmental impact on, used vehicles that are coming in and we are not sure of emissions, etc. So it's important that we bring all these factors to the table. Safety is also a very, very key component of this. And so we are making sure that we are assembling these vehicles, making people aware of these vehicles that we are assembling here, and also hope that the framework supports assemblers and then even the end consumer, so we can afford these vehicles and make them affordable for everyone to drive a brand new vehicle.
Okay. Yeah. You have something to say to me? I mean,
basically, you're the target and you soon become an advocate for us.
So, you know how they say you get an elevator pitch, you don't know who your next customer or employer will be. Give me that 1-minute pitch to our audience on why they should look to Suzuki, why they should look to CFAO, and of course, invite them to the upcoming Automotive Summit. That's your camera right there.
Which one?
Right here.
All right. Okay, so, wow, this is pressure.
I like how
I'm like a news anchor now. All right, so like I said, Suzuki is the vehicle for Ghana, and we understand Ghanaians. You can see the evidence for yourself. Everywhere you turn, Suzuki is around the corner. Suzukis are built for Ghana, and they're fuel efficient. The drivers attest to this. We have brought the brand new Suzuki Swift, and it's going to be at the summit. Now, the brand new Suzuki Swift is assembled in Ghana, and it has a new feature added to it. I know previous owners of the Suzuki Swift used to have a few challenges with the transmission. Now, the transmission has changed to an all fully automatic transmission. The front is looking all sportier now. New, beautiful grille. 6 airbags. We've graduated from 2 airbags to 6 airbags. So your safety is totally catered for. The trunk space is beautiful. Your ground clearance is up, so you can take it from whichever part of Accra. You can take it from end to end. So come to the summit, talk to us. There's financing. There's long-term, leasing. All of these things. If I leave
Dennis, you keep going on and on.
So yes, just come to the summit and see for yourself vehicles made in Ghana.
Thank you. Andrew, has he brought some pressure for you?
Not at all.
Okay, let's go. That's your 1 minute now.
All right. So for us, Toyota, like you mentioned, is the vehicle that Ghana drives. And our tagline, Ghana drives Toyota. We believe in 3 things: QDR, quality, durability, and reliability. And it has served every Ghanaian, no matter whether you own it or you've used it. In whatever industry that you find yourself, whether you are the miner, contractor, whether you are the business person or the salesperson, you might have used Toyota, and Toyota has served and will continue to serve. We do the assembling of the Toyota Hilux, and the Toyota Hilux is the workhorse for the nation, and we therefore want every Ghanaian to come to the summit on the 17th to have a look at it, feel it, and let's talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I wish you the very best in the summit, and of course, I hope that more Ghanaians start to buy cars that have been assembled right here for the Ghanaian people. Those who join me for this conversation: Andrew Lamptey, he's head of sales and sales operations at CFAO, and Dennis Gawuga, Toyota Ghana, beg your pardon, and Dennis Gawuga is communications manager at CFAO Mobility Ghana PLC. All the best, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right, so coming up next, we take a look at the justice delivery system and its imperfections, and how, as a nation, we can cure these and deliver justice for all. Benjamin Akako brings you a conversation that you don't want to miss. But first, here's a comprehensive report that sets the pace for that conversation.
A High Court found Yao Ajekum guilty of conspiracy to commit robbery and sentenced him to 35 years in prison based on allegations that he was linked to Atai's criminal activities. Mr. Ajekum, however, maintained his innocence and filed an appeal, arguing that the prosecution failed to prove his involvement beyond reasonable doubt. Yao Ajekum expressed his joy after being found not guilty.
Minim say oye comfort ana oje ko me na me na djuma nyina ma ana nim say friend atai sa na friend minim ejuma oye taxi driver oh enti debi me wo no ma me yare na me ko no am wa sorry dem na be che me see e hwehwe me say me no ma kwa kobokro no me kan bibia o ma njantu e ma ya che me auntie me sister be tu waju more than 6 months. They call remand 8 years. Try remand 8 months. 2010, they jail me 30 years. See me when you say me menyeshe. See I'm shop, na me shop. Oh, shop negu.
His lawyer, who handled the case on a pro bono basis, was relieved with the verdict and added that he always knew his client was innocent.
I'm very glad for him. I think he can come out and he can start a new life. And it's days like this that we get some sort of professional satisfaction in the sort of work we do.
His daughter, who was just a year old when her father was imprisoned, was equally elated after seeing her father finally free.
But I'm very happy. It's been a while. Yeah. Anytime when I go there and visit him, I feel sad. I can't even eat well if I visit him, but today it's a tears of joy. I'm very happy and I'm grateful.
For now, Yao Asante Ajekum says he is grateful to regain his freedom and hopes to rebuild the life that was abruptly taken from him more than 2 decades ago.
So the story you're about to hear now is one that will give you chills, especially considering that if you bear the consequences of an action you've committed, you know that you did it. But how about when you have not done something and you suffer consequences for saying? Well, that happens to be the story of Yao Asante Ajekum, who was in the cooler for some 23 years and only recently was let go of by the courts. He was purportedly linked to some acts in relation to Atai, the notorious armed robber. Today, he is a free man. But what damage has been done to his life? This morning, we have his lawyer, who has been with him for about 10 years, fighting to set him free. He's in the person of George Bernard Shaw. He's a barrister, he's a human rights activist, and a lawyer as well. George, good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you. I was just teasing him before we came on his name. As someone who loves reading, I was thinking, George Bernard Shaw told me a lot of stories there about his father. Good to have you. Let's talk about Yao Asante Ajekum. And how did you even come across his case? What happened?
The case was first referred to me by the then second in command, 2IC of Nsawam prison. I was doing some outreach work with some prisoners, and then he said that he's heard about my work and he thinks there might be some merit in his case. So he begged me to take it on. So that's how it came to me.
Wow. And it also speaks to, because I hear that he was such a model prisoner in the system. I hear he was working on people's vehicles, motorbikes and all of that. And that he was very diligent, very hardworking. So he was a model in that institution, which is why maybe
yes.
the 2IC, the second in command, was even willing to push his case.
And as a testimony to that kind of character that he had when he was released. Even though most of them were happy for him, they were somehow remotely sad that they were going to lose somebody like that who had been very helpful during his days in prison.
To Atai, he was a mechanic, and when you're a mechanic, you don't necessarily know who is coming to you. You work. What happened?
According to him, basically, yes, he was a mechanic at a place called Kole Woko, somewhere in Accra here. And he was a specialist in motorbikes, and he was good at it. So obviously, he had a very good clientele, which one of them was, not one, about 3 or 4 of the people in the Atai gang were repairing their bikes there. So when apparently, I was not in the country at the time. I was then pursuing my legal business in UK, but I hear that Atai was very notorious. So
he was.
There was a manhunt for him, and apparently he has evaded arrest on a number of occasions. So when one notorious robbery was effected, I don't know how the police got intelligence that my client might know him, but basically they went and arrested him whilst he was at church in Kwau, and then asked him about Atai. And he said, yeah, I know him. I do his bikes. And they said, then they arrested him, said, you are part of a road brigade. They said, no, I am not. And he led the police to find, I think, 2 of them. And Atai, so because they were in the same area.
So Yao actually led them to some of the others because
in
they
the same area.
coming
they've been coming and
repair their bikes.
Kolewoko, I don't know how close they are, the distance from where his shop was and where these guys were. Right. So I think from the proceedings, it was an act of revenge. I think I'm a bit speculating that because you led the police to come and arrest us at the court, at the police station, they apparently or allegedly said that he was part of them.
But that is a bit of a stretch, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing to say, maybe I have interacted with these people over time.
Yeah.
You would need to establish, per the law, firmly that there was that mens rea, or that there was some collaboration. Because in the end, that was what he was sentenced for, conspiracy to commit armed robbery.
Well, I guess at the time, the operating word that the police or the prosecution used was a so-called confession from 2 of the accused persons, in which, in the alleged confession statement, they have said that Yao Santiago was part of them. So, you know, and you know the rigmarole around confessions is basically an admission. But because it was, what went wrong was that since it was against Yao Santiago, they are saying that he was part of them. And he has made it perfectly clear that he wasn't part, and that this could be an act of revenge because of his action in reporting them. So that is where maybe things didn't go well, because that should have been investigated thoroughly. And because especially when at trial, when they came to trial, because, you know, when you are arrested, they question you and you give your statement. Right. So even if it's a confession statement, at the trial, you're supposed to repeat it when you are actually in the box giving your evidence.
Was that not
done? They did that, but in the box they said, no, he's not part of us.
In the box?
In the where?
The same people who had accused him said he was not part of it?
Yeah. Even one...
Was this at the original trial?
Yeah, original trial. Even one of the defendants who later on confessed that he was part of the robbery then became a witness for the prosecution. And he said that, yes, I was part of the robbery, and now I'm giving evidence for the prosecution, and this is what we did, blah, 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 blah. But one thing I want to make very clear is that Yao Asante Agyekume, I don't know him, he wasn't part of us, and I don't know why he's here at trial.
We'll come back to that point, and it points to certain legal loopholes in our system. But even from the start, when Yao Asante Agyekume was asked to, and because he was their mechanic, likely he knew their places of abode, and he took them there. Was it to be exposed that he was the one who had led the police there? How did, these people, the robbers, get to know that he was the one?
Because...
was it at trial?
Because, no. Because obviously, if I lead somebody to your house, in the case of one of them, I think they met the mother. I think what they call A1, that's the first defendant. They met the mother, and he said, we are looking for, it's called Nanaya Owusu. Owusu wasn't at home. So obviously, the mother might have told him that this mechanic in our neighborhood brought these guys, and they were looking for you.
And you know why I'm asking that? Because even with the Whistleblowers Act and other things, these things, in a way, must be concealed so that you don't necessarily know that it is...
To protect the identity of the...
So could the person have led, okay, so it is this house, go and ask for this person. Maybe some of these consequences could have been been prevented.
You're not far from right, yeah.
But coming to the wrongful conviction, as we would call it now, he was sentenced to 35 years.
To correct you that, sorry, I think it's been in the press that 35, it was 30.
It was 30. The original sentence was 30
years. Yes.
Okay, and he did what, 23 out of that?
Yeah.
Close to 23?
Yeah, 23, close to, I mean, I think it's left 1 or 2 months to 23, yeah.
1 or 2 months, and it would have been 23 years.
Yeah.
Right. How is it that, and you started representing him in 2015?
15, yeah.
How is it that it has taken this long, after numerous appeals, to get here?
Well, again, I need to set the record straight. It wasn't numerous appeals, but numerous attempts to appeal, in the sense that they...
Please explain.
Yeah, what happened was that when the case was referred to me, I started chasing the, because you need a record of appeal of the trial, which will include the judgment in order to see whether there are any grounds of appeal. At the time when I came, apparently he was tried at a court, a fast-track court. But when at that time they were no longer, it had been scrapped. And so the main problem was retrieving the documents, getting the appeal record, I mean, the record of appeal, record of proceedings. So he had some, I don't know how he had, but maybe he had applied. He had some of it. It wasn't full, it wasn't complete. And so we started from there, gathering. He was contacting some, because they have been separated. Some of them have been taken to the maximum prison in
Nsawam?
No, where? Maximum at
oh, okay.
What do you call it? Ankafo.
Ankafo, right.
That's where Atta is now. Because anyway, so somehow you get one from here. You get, because all of them in diverse ways mounted appeals, and every appeal they have to compile the documents. So he will borrow some from this one's appeal. So we were collecting one to one until late in 2019. I thought I've got the full complement, and then I filed the first appeal at the court. We went to court, when the case was called, we went to court, and the prosecution objected, basically came up with the fact that the document is still not full because they are missing the exhibits, that is the confession statements. And a case that...
That same confession statement
yeah.
from the start,
yeah,
which had been debunked in the box.
Yeah, which was later debunked in the box. But at the time, to get the appeal before the lordships at the Court of Appeal, they needed everything that happened at the trial court.
Right.
So in my document, or the ones we have gathered, we didn't have the confession statement. So the Court of Appeal adjourned the case sine die, that is, until the records have been found. So we went home again, and I pursued it again through the registrar, up and down. They will find bits. They say they can't find it. They have to go to archives until I think the early this year or late last year that I went to the archival rooms again, and then by chance, I don't know, I saw Nanaya Owusu, and I knew that name very well, an appeal done, but that was the first accused. So I said, hey, this document, let's go through it with the, and then lo and behold, everything was there. So just coincidentally, I said, thank God for this.
God's hand at play.
Yes, and then we took it. So they compiled the record again, and we went to court. And now the court said, yes, okay, now we've got everything. This was, I think, about 2 months ago. And then they said, we had then written our written submissions as to why we think he should be set free, because as it were, the confession the so-called confession statements have been debunked at trial, and all of them are saying that he's not part of it. So there's no link between him with the conspiracy, either in the planning of the robbery or in the execution of the robbery. And the court said that they will give judgment on the 5th of June. And 5th of June came, and we saw the light of day.
And he was acquitted and discharged by the court. The question, though, that lingers has to do with the sufficiency of evidence. Because in such cases, especially when people are going to spend, large periods of time under incarceration, you want to be sure. Do you think that legal threshold was met? There was the case of Atayi's phone number being found on his phone, but of course he repairs motorbikes for these people.
Well,
was that true?
I don't know, but that was not part of the
it was not filed
case, and we never came across the fact that his phone, his number was found on his phone. Somehow they got to know that intelligence. I have no idea, but
even there, would that be enough to incriminate somebody?
No,
Obviously.
at all, not beyond reasonable doubt. But like I say, the main arsenal of the prosecution at the time was the so-called confession statement. But when you come back to the problems in the legal system, that will be addressed, because I believe that if he had a lawyer at the time, because the trial...
Wait, did he not have representation?
No, at some stage in the proceedings, he was assigned a lawyer by the judge. But I think he stopped coming at some stage. I don't know how. But when you look at it... The lawyer stops coming. Because he did his own cross-examination. He did his own evidence in chief alone.
Yeah. How was that allowed to happen?
Oh, it happens all the time.
No, I'm saying you would have to opt for that. Did he opt to do that?
No. But if you don't have, it's happening as we speak. You go to the court today, there are some people who are conducting their own case because they don't have legal representation. The lawyers don't come cheap. So most of them, if they are indigent, they cannot afford.
And if they don't get legal aid?
And if they don't get legal aid, which is it's very difficult to secure. And the lawyers who do legal aid, because I think they pay them 20% of the fees that private practitioners get. So like if you are going to get 10 cedis, a lawyer who does it on legal aid will get 2 cedis.
Right. And even those
so
2
it's not
CDs
attractive.
may still be expensive for some people.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the state has to pay. The 2 cedis is catered for by the state.
Right.
But there is, most of the time, there are not enough funds even to pay for that 2%. So most practitioners shy away from criminal.
You're telling me that, and we've had so many problems with our legal system, you're telling me that it could be the case, it could be, that some people are being thrown in jail because they don't have proper representation. Of course, Yawasanti Ajekum is not well versed in matters of the law.
No.
He would try his best, right? But he is not. Going against the prosecution, who would be armed with, with quite a bit of
experience and very well qualified legal practitioners.
This is clearly unfair.
It's very unfair. There's something called equality of arms that operates in Europe, where they say equality of arms, that is the balance between prosecution and defense has to be balanced. Right. That is what is underpinning the legal aid concept. That's why in England, the government pays lawyers to defend people. But here, it's not so. Those who get legal aid, fine, but how many get it? And so you are there doing your own case, again, very seasoned. And even the, with your legal background, the complexities of procedure, and the law itself, they wouldn't know it. So, and if you don't get a judge who is really, really tolerant and in some way even helping the defendants, there are lots of them in Savo.
Do you know what I see? It means ab initio, everything was skewed against Yawasanti Ajekum.
Yes, and a lot of people who are accused of crime. And that is why we are advocating for a complete overhaul or reform of the justice system. Because as William Blackstone said, it is better that 10 guilty persons
are set free, let go.
No, escape than one innocent suffer. Yeah. Because you can imagine how, if you are not guilty and then you spend time in prison. So the law, it is not for nothing that in the Constitution we have the presumption of innocence and all these things. Yeah. But I think a lot more should be done to help get justice. After all, justice is part of our national motto, freedom and justice. Yeah. But in reality, in my opinion, and also anecdotally, I don't think we have it.
I mean, we've had our Justice for All program, especially to deal with some of such situations. But let's also segue into what this has done to the life of Yao Asante Ajekum. We saw him, his 1-month-old daughter then, right when she was born. After 1 month, he was incarcerated, who was so full of joy to meet her father. My heart broke seeing her. What consequences has this sentence had on his life? I hear he's lost his business, of course, it's collapsed. What has happened to Yao Asante Ajekum?
He's been shattered. It's irreparable, if I should use that word in that context, because like you said, his livelihood was repairing bikes. That one is gone. But more importantly, his youth, his energy. This thing happened at the prime of his youth, or at the formative, the most productive years of his life. And he's been away. Even if he's able to set up again, the energy and
the strength is not there.
Yeah, it's not there. You know, because bike repairing involves a lot of physical movement. That is gone. But the emotional trauma that he's gone through. Because at least those, if you know you committed the offense, you bear your teeth and maybe do the time, do the sentence. But if you know it's not you, you didn't do it, and then somehow the system has failed you, and you are there, it brings an extra burden, which might weigh on you, and psychologically you might never recover. And so the guy, I don't mean to stop you there, but yes, I believe that even the system should even include counseling.
True.
Because coming out to face the world, 23 years, a lot has changed. The dynamics of what he knew.
Some relatives have passed.
Have passed, yeah.
Some relatives he may have loved are no longer with us.
no longer.
Some friends, where he used to stay, things have changed.
He said he was going to Dansuman also the other day, and then the route he knew, he was lost. He had to call, and then people have to help him, and then somebody hailed a taxi for him, and he had to describe where he was going. It's shattering.
His family setting, I know it's something that is very emotionally charged for him.
Yeah.
What has happened? Beyond his daughter, we've heard that his wife is not necessarily in the picture anymore. We don't know what the details are. But how has he accommodated that? How has he reacted?
I can say he's done very well, and he's resilient, because I would have broken down. But as at now, all I know is his brother who came to the court.
Right.
And then his daughter, and then his son, who was, I think, one or 2 years old when the thing happened. As for the extended family, that is why he's traveled to this hometown to bond with the rest of the family, because I suppose, not too sure about it, I suppose most of them abandoned him. I don't know how far, but
because they thought he was a criminal?
I would have been in contact with, or they would have come to see me, because I've been on this case for some time. I never came across them. Or again, I've heard that most of them were also afraid of reprisals, because apparently this Atayi has got a very strong network of gangs and other things. So anyone who came forward, even me, I was sworn to be very, very careful.
Even now? Or back then?
Then it has subsided. But when this thing came out, people have been telling me that I should look out, because they are talking and blah, blah, blah. Especially when the name Atayi has come in the news again.
Because of this, it's been resurrected, that is.
But good on you. What I hear, and I hope it's true, that he's a pastor now, a repentant pastor, and he's ministering people at Wrongful prison. So if that is the case, then...
That is Atayi
himself, yeah.
I see. We thank God for that. In terms of, there are two quick things I want to run by you. We're running out of time, but one has to do with compensation. Is it also correct, what I hear, that Yawasanti Ajakum says he does not want any compensation?
Well, he didn't say it in those direct terms. But what he kept saying right from the time I got into this case was that, because I kept saying that when you come out, you need compensation to set up. And most of the time, and all the time, he was saying that I am not interested, I need my freedom, I need to come back. So if you put 1 and 2 together, it could mean that, yes, he's not interested or he doesn't want it. But I think haven't come out now, seeing the reality. When I last spoke with him, he said, yes, I need to set up.
What is the role of the state in such instances? What is the role of
the state? Has, it's in the Constitution that if you serve time, whole or part of time in prison, and you are later exonerated, the state should pay compensation if your conviction is overturned. But the problem with that regime is the sums. And that is what I think we need immediate help and other things to, apart from the legal gymnastics that we will have to do, to basically bring it home that the amount of compensation paid to people like that is wholly inadequate.
What would such compensation, what has it looked like over time? Before we came on air, we were talking about that UK case, and the £1 million threshold that they are trying to increase. What does it look like in Ghana?
In Ghana, it's very bad. I remember one of the leading cases, the guy, I think 8 or 9 years, and then he got 35,000 cedis. 8 or 9 years? I'm not too sure of the fact, but I know what I've heard. What I've read, the name of the case, I can't remember, but he got
around 35,000 for 8 or 9 years in the pool.
Yes, if my memory serves me right. And that is, I mean, it's poetry. And because 35,000 years, obviously the case, it might be differ from case to case. And people who are maybe found not guilty or acquitted later on technicalities of the law, maybe that will be different. But if the main evidence is that, yes, you were not guilty and you went to prison wrongfully, then I think it should be increased because...
Let's wrap up in just about a minute. So complete what you're saying and then tell me bluntly, how can we remedy the injustice of our justice system? Let's end with that.
Well, the only remedy will be a substantial cash payment to set him up.
About how much?
Well, nothing less than 5 million Ghana cedis.
Nothing less than 5 million Ghana cedis?
Well, I mean, less than, and upwards.
Is that what you're going to be pushing for?
Yes.
In court?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any final words? We have to go.
The final words is that I am glad that the media and a lot of Ghanaians now are taking interest in what happens in our criminal justice system. And I will urge you to continue and help us to fix some of the problems.
Right. Thank you so much, George Bernard Shaw. It's been very good having you join the conversation. And thank you for the work you've done on behalf of Yao Asante Ejekum.
Thank you.
Spent 23 years in the cooler, and this is how it ends. But let's all chip in, and people of goodwill, if you can, support him. That's how we are capping off the conversations this morning. My name is Benjamin Akakwa. I did this together with Sweetie Abochi. We'll be right back with Joy News Desk. Do stay.